and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour one of John and Jim on this Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday afternoon. There's a lot to get to involving Jim's Warriors and how that could tie into our Padres. But before we get there, what am I doing, by the way?
What are you
Before we
doing?
get there, I'm trying to figure this out.
Are you frazzled? What's going on?
No. I was trying to figure a couple things out with my computer, which is never a good idea. Before we get there, I have successfully completed my colonoscopy. I mean, I didn't do anything, but I had a colonoscopy yesterday. And look at me now. I feel great. Everything was good. Now, do I recommend? The whole process was a disaster, dude. So just so you know, when you have your first colonoscopy, you should start regretting that right now. Because it is the whole process. Now, again, I'm advising everyone that needs a colonoscopy to get a colonoscopy. I'm pro colonoscopy, right? I'm not anti, but it's not great. Okay, Jim, I just want you to know that the whole thing is not ideal.
So, all right, everything's good. Everything checked out.
Everything checked out.
Okay. Do we need any? We don't need any details of how things.
You want details?
Went. No, I don't know if I want details. I don't know if I want the details.
No, there's no detail. I don't even know. They put you to sleep and then you wake up like 40 minutes later and you're like feeling on cloud nine.
Well, you were like tweeting out like during your surgery, not like Aztecs.
Okay, to that point, I was on like whatever what is it, the anesthesia medicine that they.
You're drugged.
No, I called that yesterday.
When I tweeted?
No, that you were all hopped up on anesthesia.
I felt wonderful all afternoon long. Like that like high on life feeling a little bit. Like, man,
this is great.
Padres are going to win a title next year. Like, I feel great about everything.
Right.
But what was your question?
I said you were like tweeting out during your colonoscopy.
So literally right after the colonoscopy, the Mountain West first and second team football was announced.
Of course it was.
And Chris Johnson was named co-defensive player of the year.
Like, I can't believe this.
I could not see straight, but I went to my phone and I tweeted out like, congratulations to Chris Johnson, defensive player of the year in the Mountain West. I did have one spelling mistake. Looking back on it, I put name. I meant to put the word named, but I put the word name.
Oh, okay. So
because I couldn't see
you were
straight.
Drugged up.
And then I was so scared. I looked at it like 3 times. I'm like, what if I'm tweeting out like something horrific?
Of course you
know what I mean?
You would think that.
I had no clue.
Yeah.
But
so everything's good. And then
good.
So I do have one question though, because me and Brett were talking about it yesterday.
Of course you were.
The burrito that you had afterwards.
So good.
What kind of burrito was it? I said it was veggie.
Oh, surprise. Well, as opposed to what? I mean, it wasn't like
you could get like a fish burrito.
Cheese.
You can get a shrimp fish burrito.
I'm not going fish burrito post colonoscopy. I need something like bean, cheese.
Oh, so after a colonoscopy, the best thing is to have his beans.
Dude, I don't know, man.
Nope.
I pounded that thing, and then I was eating chips. And
pause.
I took a 3-hour nap. I didn't listen to 1 second of John and Jim.
Yeah, I
the rest of America.
Son of a.
And then I feel good. I feel like $1 million, honestly. Now I don't want to get another colonoscopy, but I feel good. Here's the other thing: when you have a colonoscopy, this might be too much information.
Just go with it. Just run with it. You
probably lose 3 to 5 pounds.
Well, yeah, you're like essing your brains out, dude.
Well, and you can't eat.
Exactly. So you're flushing everything out of your system and you're not eating. Of course, you're going to lose some weight.
All right, let's transition to the Padres.
Just a hard left turn after that conversation.
Well, I was going to say, like, listen, the Padres probably need to shed some. On to the next one from an ownership perspective is basically what we've been saying. The John Seidler era is going to be like a very short-lived era, potentially. So now we get the reporting last night out of the Bay Area about your guy, Joe Lacob, who has been the longtime owner of the Warriors. They've been so successful. They've spent above and beyond from a luxury tax threshold. He's won, 4 titles in the Bay Area, one with the Celtics back in the 2000s. He's had interest before in other major league teams like the A's and the Angels. And now, according to reports in the Bay Area, he would at least have an interest in potentially pursuing the San Diego Padres. So I guess I would start by saying this. what do you make of that? I mean, what the idea of Joe Lacob, if we could snap our fingers and put him as the next owner of the San Diego Padres, not that we're there, but what would your reaction be if that was the case?
Very happy for Padres fans. I know Joe Lacob very well. Not like I know him personally. Oh. No, you idiot. I don't know him personally, but I know his entire story dating back to when he bought the Warriors back in, I think it was like 2013, 14.
Just somewhere in that neighborhood, yeah.
For I think like $450 million. It wasn't a lot.
A deal.
Him and his partner, Peter Gruber, who is now, I think he's with the Dodgers. He always was with the Dodgers. He's an LA-based guy. Okay. Peter Gruber. I forget his name.
Is it Eric Grubner?
No. It was not Eric Grubner.
Okay.
I forget his name, but he had a partner.
Yeah.
And Joe Lacob and him bought the Warriors, and they came out, and I remember the first basically public appearance that he had in front of Warriors fans. All Warriors fans booed him mercifully. It was not pretty. And he had these big talking points like, we're going to win championships. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do this. And it was like, okay, yeah, we'll believe it when we see it, right? And now, a decade plus later, he has taken a franchise that he bought for over $400 million and made it into the, I guess, highest. It's what is it? It's worth like the most in the NBA. It's worth more than the Lakers. It's worth more than the Knicks. He has taken this franchise and made it the most profitable franchise in the NBA, to the point where if he were to sell the Warriors today, he would sell the team for well over 12, 13, 15 billion dollars, maybe even more than that. Now, a lot of it has to do with Steph Curry. Without Steph Curry, they aren't where they are. Like Joe Lacob, doesn't matter what he does. They're not winning titles. They're not winning championships. Steph Curry is the reason why the Warriors are valued at where they're valued, which is the highest evaluation in the entire NBA over the Knicks, over the Lakers, over everybody. Okay. So I look at Joe Lacob, and for anybody out there, because I've seen it on social media. Oh, he's only worth $2.3 billion. He's not going to, we need somebody that's worth like Stan Kroenke money. We need Steve Ballmer money. Like, hold on. It's Joe Lacob. Yes, he's not worth as much as Ballmer or, Stan Kroenke, right? But I look at the track record of Joe Lacob, Silicon Valley, rich people. Like, it's just, he would find investors to help him, and he's obviously the front man of this whole thing, and he has shown a desire to win wherever he's gone. I mean, he's come from, like, his background is from the Boston Celtics, so he knows a little bit about winning. From the Boston Celtics to the Warriors, if he wants, he's dipped his foot in the WNBA with the Golden State Valkyrie, and they had an amazing season. Their profit margins this year were through the roof. They led the WNBA in everything this year, as far as attendance, merchandise sales, everything. They led the entire league. And so wherever he goes and wherever he is, they win. And he's the type of person that we've talked about who you want as your owner. You want somebody who cares. You want somebody who wants to win at all cost and has a track record of doing this type of thing.
Here's what I would say. I didn't know you were ending there. Here's what I would say. It doesn't matter what he's worth. It's all about putting a group together. Like the Sidlers 100%. Only own 24% of the Padres. They just represent ownership because they have more shares than anyone else. 24%. That's not even a quarter. So, I mean, Joe Lacob could be controlling, 10% of the shares, but he could put together the other 90%, or he could control 20% of the shares and put together the other 80%. And by the way, to your point, I think when you own a team that's valued at over $10 million, I think you can borrow on that asset. Yeah. So, and by the way, you're not buying the Padres for anything near that number. Like if this franchise sells for 2 or 2.5, you're nowhere near the valuation of the Golden State Warriors. So it's not about his wealth. It's more about his desire. We've talked about that. I mean, it's a combination of both. You want someone that's willing to go above and beyond. Do we have the Joe Lacob sound? I want to hear from Joe Lacob before we hear from Joe Musgrove. Because to me, yeah, it's twofold. You need to spend, and they have spent in Golden State. They've gone above and beyond from the luxury tax threshold. But it's also about having someone like this. Take a listen to Joe Lacob on the importance of winning.
The truth of the matter is, I'm about only one thing in my rest of my life, and that's winning and winning championships. I'm maniacal. It's all I care about. That's it. And we've done really well. We've won 4 at 8 years, which is incredible. We made 6 finals in 12 years, which, by the way, there was somebody else that did this as an owner, Jerry Buss. I look up to him. 33 years of ownership, 16 finals.
Wow.
So that 50% rate is I don't know that we can continue that, but I'm sure as hell going to try. Right. That's my goal. That's my goal, is to have this team be great.
Dude, 50%. Padres haven't been to a World Series since 1998. Like, I just want someone like, do you think John Seidler puts his head on the pillow at night? It's like, all I care about is winning. No. I think Peter Seidler was like that. But I want the next owner to be more like Peter than like John. I don't know John, but with all due respect, I think Peter put everything to the side that didn't impact winning. And I don't think John is doing that. And it sounds to me, someone like Joe Lacob, and I don't know if it's going to be him or not, but Joe Lacob wants to win. And that to me is an important trait with the next owner of the Padres.
Now, that was back in 2022, right after they won their 4th championship. And I agree with you. And that's why Joe Lacob, for anybody out there that's like, I heard he's too poor to buy the Padres. No, stop. That's not a narrative. Stop with that narrative. It's not true. Okay. Because like you said, John, he could go out and he has plenty of connections in the Bay Area. You think the Bay Area is like poor? No, it's very rich. And if he wants to dip his toe into the baseball world, there is no question in my mind he could go out and find an investor group that could easily buy the Padres and easily be comfortable with spending a bunch of money. And that's what I think Joe Lacob would do. I don't envision Joe Lacob buying the Padres and deciding to, be the type of owner that, doesn't want to spend money or is just using this as like a cash grab to like make money on the side. Or no, I don't envision that at all. This guy is a complete psychopath. Now, I will say the last couple of years in Golden State, he has gotten a little control hungry to the point where he has dipped his toe into the basketball operations water, where on the baseball, if he bought the Padres, I wouldn't want him dipping his toes into the baseball operations water with the Padres. I would want him to just, hire the right people, let them do their jobs and go out and sign the checks and make sure that, you have the best people in charge. And I wouldn't want Joe Lacob to do what he's kind of doing with the Warriors right now. He had his son, be heavily involved in like drafting players, and it's not gone well there late. Like without Steph, the Warriors are not where they are without Steph Curry. But it also could be said that they're not where they are without Joe Lacob either. But I just think if I'm looking at owners, if I'm looking at potential buyers for the Padres, and you're a Padres fan out there, you have to look at this and be excited at the potential that Joe Lacob could possibly be interested in buying the Padres. Because the last thing you want to, if you're a Padres fan, is some no-name investor group that you have never heard of before buying this team. You don't want that. You don't want a bunch of no-names. You don't want like a group buying the Padres. They're like, who's in charge? Like, huh? Like, no, you want someone who's in charge that has a group in place that could put up enough money to buy this team and then, invest in this team and put money in this team and try to win at all costs. And I just think Joe Lacob would be a fantastic choice to be the next owner of the team.
Dude, if Joe Lacob buys the team, his son can draft from like the 7th round on. I don't care. I mean, that is, you know what I mean? Like, it's baseball. Like, if Joe Lacob, who has won at the highest level in the NBA, buys this team, then I'll worry about the ramifications, because I think the good certainly outweighs the bad in that scenario. Let's hear from Joe Musgrove on the other side. What is he looking for in the next Padres owner? Plus, coming up at 3 p.m., Caleb Davis, general manager, San Diego State football on National Signing Day on the class the Aztecs just signed. Plus, we're getting you ready for Aztec basketball tonight. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, National Signing Day in college football. We're going to catch up with Caleb Davis, San Diego State's GM. Sean Lewis met with the media earlier this afternoon. They've got a class of 20 plus that's rolling in here today. So we'll talk to Caleb Davis at 3 p.m. We have Aztec basketball tonight. We'll get you ready for that one coming up as well. That's at 7 p.m. with pregame coverage beginning at 6 p.m. John and Jim with you on this Wednesday afternoon. All right, so we're talking about Joe Lacob, the Warriors owner, the Valkyries of the NBA owner, about his potential desire to pursue a Major League Baseball team. Could it be the San Diego Padres? So we heard from Lacob, who said that he obsesses over winning, which is like the best possible thing. Now let's hear from Joe Musgrove on what he wants to see from the next Padres owner.
I think someone that has a desire to win is the most important. You know, I've been around teams where it's more of a money-making business than it is a pride and wanting to win thing. And I think the tone that Peter set here is something that's hard for a player to kind of move on from, you know, committing to the city, committing to the team, and adding the pieces and working in the right direction, especially when you look at our division and some of the teams that we got to face on a regular basis and who we're up against. You know, money is always going to be a factor. You have to spend it to get the best players, and that's how you get wins. So, you know, I'm not expecting someone to come in here and empty their pockets and buy everything, but we just want someone that wants to win and is going to take this as an opportunity to bring a championship to San Diego and not a chance to, you know, make a lot of money.
Kind of sounds like Joe Lacob to a T right there.
That's what he's looking for, right?
That's what he's looking for. I mean, Joe Lacob, that is who he is. As you heard him last segment, he is all about winning. That's all he cares about. And, you know, getting somebody in here, yes, the ideal situation and the ideal scenario is getting somebody with deep pockets and the desire to win, like Peter, like Joe Lacob, right? Like Steve Ballmer, like, you know, whoever, Cohen for the Mets, right? You want somebody with deep pockets and who wants to win at all costs and is willing to spend a bunch of money. The likelihood of that happening, I don't know. I don't know if somebody with major deep pockets and a desire to win like Peter is going to want to buy the Padres. But the thing that Joe has is what I think is more important, is that desire to win overall. Like the money, he can find the money. That's what Peter did. Peter wasn't like, you know, super rich. He didn't have the deepest of pockets. I mean, Kevin Acee continues to claim nonstop that Peter's not a billionaire. Okay. But the thing was, Peter wanted to win at all costs. And that drove him to say, screw the money. I want to go out and spend whatever I have and try to put the best team possible on the field, try to win a championship. Like the desire to win to me is the number one thing I want. And I think all Padres fans should want with the next potential owner of this team.
Yeah, by the way, like to your point, like I don't think it's easier to win in the NBA than it is in Major League Baseball. You might say, but John, there's a salary cap. Yeah, but there's thresholds the teams use to go beyond that, including Golden State. Like Golden State at one point, you would know better than me, at one point was so far over those cap numbers. What they were spending in penalty was so significant. Like they were in the hundreds of millions of dollars on like their 12-man roster.
One of their rosters was, with when you add all the tax money to it, I think it was 2018 or it might have been after their third championship. They were paying, I think it was like $450 million for their payroll.
Right. So that's kind of like my point is this. Yeah, they're different leagues. The revenues are different, but like he proved he was able to do it. And like, by the way, you think about Golden State's history. Like, it's not like Golden State heading in was the Lakers or the Celtics. Like, think about that. And I like that. Like the Padres heading into the next ownership tenure, let's say it is Joe Lacob. You're taking over a franchise that in baseball probably looked a lot like the Warriors did in basketball. Like, what was the Warriors' history before this generation of the Warriors? It was very similar. In fact, the San Diego Padres, like nothing to really write home about. You could argue the Padres probably had a better history to this point than the Warriors did 15 years ago. So I like that. Like he took something, created it into a monster, and desires winning above everything else. This is exactly what I'm looking for. And I hope this isn't going to be a Lucy pulling the football away situation. This is the first report on a potential owner for the Padres who are exploring a sale. Doesn't mean it's going to be him. I have no clue. Nobody has any idea. But this is the type of individual, and it might not be him. It doesn't have to be him, but this is the type of individual, to your point, Jim, that we prefer. I don't want to hear it's H&R Capital. Like, I want to hear it's someone that has won in professional sports as recently as now. And that's basically the owner of the Golden State Warriors.
It's what Joe said to a T, is that desire to win. And that's what you want if you're a Padres fan. You want somebody that will do anything to try and win. And you don't have to have the deepest pockets. You don't have to be the richest owner in the sport. You don't have to be, valued at like $200 billion net worth. You don't have to have that to go out and win. Like, it's great if you have both, right? But look at Peter, guys. I mean, Peter wasn't somebody who had the deepest of pockets, and look what he did. I mean, it's coming back to potentially bite this team in the ass, but he went out and spent a bunch of money. Why? Because he had a desire to win. And the thing with Joe Lacob and whoever the owner of this team is going to be in the future, if the Seidlers end up selling the team, the number one thing you want from that person is the desire to win at all costs, because that to me is the driving force in winning. You have to have that desire, and it's not all about deep pockets. That's great, but you know what? These guys are all rich. They can find money. They're all billionaires. All right, they're all going to find money to spend it. And the thing with Joe Lacob is I'll just go back. Like, he took the Warriors. Like, think about the Warriors pre-Steph Curry. Steph Curry's a big part of this, but pre-Steph Curry, before he bought them for $400-something million. And now they're a $12 billion franchise. Like, think about that. He took the team from $450 million when he purchased them back in the mid-2010s, and now they're valued over $12 billion more than the Lakers and the Knicks. Like, think about that. That's crazy. In a sport where there is no, there's a salary cap in that sport. In baseball, there's no salary cap. And there's no shared TV revenue, and there's no, things that other leagues have advantages for all 30 of their teams that baseball doesn't. I just think Joe Lacob, to me, if he is truly interested in this job, or not job, but if he truly is interested in, obtaining and buying the Padres, that to me is a very enticing pick. Don't you say?
Oh, 1,000%. And I'm just looking at the Warriors' history, and it's not identical to the Padres heading into Lacob's ownership tenure, because they had won. Like, they won in the 70s. They won in a different city in the 50s. But there's definitely similarities. There are definitely some similarities, and I'm 100% on board. We'll continue to react to that on the other side. Plus, coming up at 3 p.m. again, Caleb Davis, San Diego State football general manager on National Signing Day. He will join us. We'll switch gears to the NBA on the other side as well. The latest with Giannis, and could he be on the move at some point here during this 2025-2026 basketball season? Here until 6 p.m. John and Jim, stay with us.
This update is brought to you by Taco Bell. We'll start with the Aztecs. They are back at VA House tonight as they take on Utah Valley. 7 p.m. tip time. Our pregame coverage starts at 6 p.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760. NBA news of the day. The Clippers, they released Chris Paul late last night. Chris Paul already announced earlier this year this was going to be his final season in the NBA. Taco Bell's Lux Craving Box gives you decadent options. $5 gets you fan favorites. 7 gets you the fancy stuff. And 9 sends you on a journey of flavor exploration. Get yours at participating stores for a limited time. Prices and participation may vary. Drinks exclude freezes. Taxes extra.
All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Caleb Davis, San Diego State's general manager. He will join us coming up at 3 p.m. Aztecs basketball tonight at 7. It would be characterized potentially in the must-win category from an at-large perspective. They've already lost at home to Troy. They cannot lose to Utah Valley tonight. I'll tell you right now, Utah Valley reminds me of the 2018 Warriors.
Oh, here we go.
Except they can score a little more than the 2018 Warriors could.
Give me the breakdown on Utah Valley.
They're unbelievable. Like, I'm not kidding. Like top 75 in the net, the Wolverines.
Are they better than Troy?
Yeah, they are. They're a lot better than Troy.
That's all you got?
They're coming off a 45-point win over your boys Samford, not Stanford, but Samford. Did you know Samford and Stanford are different schools? Because they are.
Yes, I did, John.
All right, so they're coming off a 45-point win. Now they've lost to Boise. In Boise, which gives me hope. Like this is a night where San Diego State needs to get back to looking like San Diego State. Starting on defense, using the last week to their advantage. Big night, I would say, seriously, for the Aztecs. This team is top 75 in the net. San Diego State is not currently in that category. So, like, this is no easy pushover night for San Diego State at VA House Arena. They will need to play well. I'm telling you, this is one of these teams like Troy where all 5 shoot, they stretch you out. Nobody's overly tall, but nobody's overly short. Like one of those teams where everyone's between 6'4" and 6'8", which gives the Aztecs trouble at times. So this is not a gimme here tonight at VA House Arena. I promise you.
Well, for your sake, I hope they win, John.
Oh my gosh. By the way,
you won't sleep all night long.
By the way, how have we buried the lead? So Jim's out east for the holidays, right? And last night we're texting back and forth. It's like 8:00 Pacific initially. And I'm like, oh, you ready for the big Warriors game that's about to start at 11 o'clock your time? You're like, dude.
I'm like about to go sleep.
It's the worst. It's like, it's the East Coast. Everything, starts so late. It sucks. I'm like, yeah, no. Yeah. And so then at halftime, the Warriors are down 20. I mean, they're down 19.
They're playing
points.
the Thunder. Thunder 20-1. It's like, they're not going to win this game.
I mean, there's no, I texted him 2 minutes in. I'm like, are they going to lose by 20, 40, 80, or 100, right? So it's a 20-point game at the half. Both of us are like, this game's over. We thought nothing of it. And then he starts texting me because he's just like casually watching. And again, it's late, but it's the third quarter and they make a run. Like all of a sudden they're like tied at the end of the third quarter. I'm like, dude. And you're like, I'm not watching this whole game. I'm going to sleep. Like it's like 2 a.m. in the East. I'm like, no, you have to stay up. Like the Warriors have made their run. They're taking on the 20-1 Oklahoma City Thunder. You have to stay up. So basically, I forced Jim to stay up. And then ultimately the Warriors collapsed. And they were terrible the last 3 minutes of the game. They ended up not even covering. They lost by 12 points at home to Oklahoma City, but it was entertaining. But like, are you doing okay? Because you're up till like 4 a.m. as a result.
My schedule is all messed up because of you. I mean that third quarter was probably the greatest third quarter in Warriors history. Like
and that includes like the titles.
Exactly. It includes the Steph, KD, Klay Thompson Warrior days. But like some guy named Pat Spencer who wears number 61 was like hitting fadeaways over Chet Holmgren and like taking SGA to the hoop and like dunking on him. I'm like, what's happening right now? And then I was like, I have to watch this whole stupid game because I know if I don't, you're going to be texting me nonstop. Like, I can't believe you missed it. And if I missed like a Pat Spencer game-winning 3-pointer against the OKC Thunder to give them the second loss of the season, I wouldn't have forgiven myself. So I stayed up for most of that game. And yes, I as soon as they went down by 10 with like 4 minutes to go, I was like, this thing's over.
And it was, in fact, over, and you stayed up till 2 a.m. Eastern as a
result. How do they do it back here, man? I don't know.
Dude, let me just say this. As someone that grew up in the East and grew up when Monday Night Football used to start at 9 o'clock Eastern, not 8. Like, when Brent's the same age as me, like, if you're in your 40s, you remember when Monday Night Football started at like 6:10 Pacific, 9:10 Eastern? those games would end so late, like
so
truly
stupid.
after midnight Eastern. I was never allowed to stay up to watch it. Never, ever, ever. Maybe halftime, because halftime would be at like 10:30 or 10:40 Eastern. If you were in Central Time Zone, it was still like 9:40, back in the day. Now they moved it up an hour, but I'm with you. Like, I think that's why the West Coast, dude. Now you could argue Mountain Time maybe has it a little better, because I feel like in the West, sometimes we race home and the game's already on. Like, you're getting out of your office at 5 p.m., you get home at 5:20, and you're like in the middle of like an NBA Finals game or something of significance where almost you could use the extra hour. But man, I love being able to watch a whole game. Like, I hate having to turn a game off because I got to wake up the next morning and be like a competent adult. But in the East, it's like you stay up late and you wake up early and like just to watch sports. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Sports on the East Coast, as far as like the times go, it's a joke. It's the absolute worst. You're like, this game starts at 8, like Thanksgiving. You're like, wait, the final game of the day starts at like 8:15, like 8:20. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
And then last night you have the Warriors and Thunder playing, and they finished up at 1:30 a.m. on the East Coast. Like, it's just ridiculous.
I think it was like 1:45.
Imagine if like Steph was playing and like you also had Jimmy Butler and both teams were fully healthy. It could have been a really good game, and half the country's not watching because the NBA decided they want to start a game at 11 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, the 11 o'clock Eastern makes no sense to me. But no, I'm with you. It's like, we got it good out here. Like, seriously,
yeah.
like for Jones, like, who can like stay up and watch games because you don't have to be up until. Honestly, one of the reasons I got into radio was because back in the day as a kid, I'd have to go in my room and I would throw the radio on to listen to games because I couldn't stay up. I couldn't stay up and watch the entire games. My mom wasn't letting me stay up till midnight to watch some random game. So
that's the worst back here. Sucks.
Yeah, well, that's the beauty of San Diego.
Yeah.
The other NBA news today, you know who could have saved the Warriors last night other than Pat Spencer? Maybe is Giannis. Now, Giannis and his agent are exploring now their options, right? This NBA champion, one of the greatest of all time, truly. I mean, he's one of the top, I don't even know, 25 players in the history of the NBA, probably a true freak of freaks throughout the course of his career. Now there's the possibility he could be on the move, Jim, at some point later this year. Knicks was discussed as a possibility this past offseason. I mean, this is kind of a potential seismic change for the NBA. Last year we saw Luka move in season. Are we expecting now Giannis to move in season, and where?
We talked about this yesterday because Giannis decided to pull the diva move and delete all the Bucks content off of his like Twitter account and his Instagram account.
Yep.
And it's like, what's going on here? Well, now we know this thing could move very quickly. Looks like the Knicks, like you said, like the Knicks could be the team that he could go to if they, the Knicks traded away Cat and a bunch of first round picks and whoever else, right? I said this yesterday. You had a chance to get out years ago. Like, and I'm not talking like 10 years ago. I'm talking about just like a couple. And you decided to sign that contract to stay with the Knicks, to stay with the Bucks. And then just a couple years later, you're pulling this. Like, dude, I just, you signed the contract. You made the whole fuss about how you didn't want to leave, and you're staying with the Bucks, right? And then just a couple years later, you decide, just kidding, I want out. And these are always messy. And the thing is, when it comes to these type of players, when they request trades, they pretty much tell you where they want to go. It's not like the team's going to trade them to the Wizards, right? Like, I want to go to New York. I want to go to the Knicks. And then they'll oblige and they'll be like, all right, sure, here you go. And they give them to the Knicks. So I think this might be the end of Giannis in Milwaukee. And I mean, he should have got out. He should have got a couple years ago when he had a chance.
Where I will give him credit, and I agree, it's always messy at the end. I agree with what you're saying. Where I give him credit is he saw it through enough to win a title. Because some of these younger players are gone even before that happens. So he saw it through, won the title. I feel like he doesn't owe Milwaukee anything as a result. Now, I don't like when it ends like this. I don't know what the relationship will be like in Milwaukee for Giannis on the other side. But again, because he's got that title, I think the story is different as opposed to if he never won with the Bucks and then went somewhere. and then won a title. So, but I'm with you. I also don't like the games. Like deleting Instagram posts is not necessary. If you want out, you can do it without deleting Instagram posts. All right, Caleb Davis will join us coming up at 3 p.m. Big day for San Diego State, National Signing Day. They're getting ready for a bowl game. We'll find out that opponent, by the way, on Sunday. That's still TBD for San Diego State. We'll catch up with Caleb Davis on the other side, actually at 3 p.m. Also, Sean Lewis this year compiling his best class in his 3 years on the Mesa. We'll discuss that on the other side, getting you ready for Aztec Hoops, talking about Joe Lacob as a potential future owner of the San Diego Padres here until 6 p.m. on John and Jim. All right, John and Jim, we do have tickets to give away today, Jim. Basketball
must
tickets.
be nice.
San Diego State basketball a week from tonight. back at Viejas Arena against Lamar. Now they're home tonight against Utah Valley as well. But we're giving away tickets for a game a week from tonight at Viejas Arena. That's December 10th against Lamar. So
Jim, do you know where Lamar is?
Yeah, do you know where Lamar is? I'll be honest, I don't even know where Lamar is. I'll
be honest, I only know because I looked it up because I was going to ask
I'll
Jim.
guess after Jim guesses. I know the state. I'd be shocked if I don't know the
Dude,
state.
I have no clue.
You don't know where Lamar is?
No. Where do you think it is?
It's like not, you don't know where, like, that's like not knowing where USC is. It's in Texas.
Okay.
Am I right, Brett?
Yes.
Okay, it's in Texas. I think it's in Lamar, Texas.
No, it's in Beaumont.
That's exactly right.
I knew that.
And you know where Beaumont is? It's like on the water.
It's in Texas.
It's in Beaumont.
That's exactly right. Anyway, we have Aztec basketball tickets to give away. We'll do that coming up at some point between now and 6 p.m. We'll probably do that in the 4 o'clock hour. Caleb Davis, San Diego State football GM, will join us coming up at 3 p.m. So in about 10 or so minutes. Now, you've been breaking down film today of this 2026 recruiting class for the Aztecs, which includes 22 players. They just got a commitment from a Lincoln DB, I believe. Tell us a little bit about what you've seen on film from this class and where you think they've really made some strides.
Well, Brady Campbell is a mix of like a Josh Allen, Mahomes kind of hybrid. He's got the size, he's got the arm. So that's pretty much all I know about this class. Well, which I mean, I have no clue. Are you serious? I have no clue. I know that Brady Campbell, let's see here, looking at his Instagram page. He's a 3-star recruit. Where's he from? Where's he from, John?
This is really good. He's a 3-star recruit from Bakersfield.
Okay, that's all I got.
Well, we'll learn more coming up with Caleb Davis. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've never been be laser focused on high school recruiting because oftentimes it's a little bit like drafting in baseball. Some of these names don't impact a roster on field for 2 or 3 years, right?
It's transfer portal.
And then there's the transfer portal as well. But like, this is how you build a program though. Like the portal's free agency, but you build via recruiting, right? High school recruiting. But it takes a couple of years. It's not like when we first saw Chris Johnson, he was the defensive player of the year. Or when we first saw Trey White. I mean, Trey White, I think redshirted. Jordan Napier under Brady Hoke, redshirted. So you don't always see the immediate impact from a freshman class, but you need to hit on these classes because as you develop these players 1 or 2 years from now, when they're redshirt freshmen, redshirt sophomores, you need them to be impactful. This isn't the Big Ten. When we talk about free agencies, like the Dodgers can go out and via free agency field a really good team where the Padres can't necessarily do that moving forward. And I would say the same thing with like a San Diego State. If you're the University of Tennessee, use the portal. You have a $20 million, rev share. When you're San Diego State, you better hit on the high school players because you can't just backfill everywhere with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars. So it's important. It's Sean Lewis's 3rd class. He said today he believes it's his best class. I think he said it's the top 60 national class. It's better than a number of P4 classes currently, according to Sean Lewis from earlier today. So hopefully reason for optimism, Jim, coming off a 9-3 season and a co-championship of the Mountain West. They don't get to that championship game, but coming off a good year, hopefully a good class for Sean Lewis to build off.
It's crazy that in today's college football world, I'm infinitely more interested in the transfer portal than I am in recruiting. Now, not to say that I was ever into recruiting in the first place, but shocker, right? But when you talk about NIL and the transfer portal, at least in the transfer portal, you can have film on these guys that have played in college already. High school kids, they're high school level, it's one thing. It's different. It's obviously way different in college. But when you go in the transfer portal, Jim Facts, I know. In the transfer portal, it's like, I feel like it's more exciting. Would you agree? Like the transfer portal now in today's college football world and in basketball as well, in college basketball, the transfer portal is way more exciting than recruiting out of high school.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, it's like when I learned that Jaden Denigal was transferring from Michigan to San Diego State, and I think what Aztec fans did, there was a lot of intrigue. He's like, well, here's a guy that backed up J.J. McCarthy. Here's a guy that played for Jim Harbaugh, played in the Big Ten, won a national championship. Like there's a little bit of, like it's a little tangible when you hear about a player that was at the University of Michigan as opposed to someone coming out of high school. So I do agree with that. And it reminds you of free agency. It's like when the Padres re-sign a player, like, are you as excited when they re-sign Jake Cronenworth, or are you more excited when they make a trade for Joe Musgrove initially?
Trade.
Like, to me, it's the trade and the free agency is always more enjoyable than like the re-signing. Now, with all that being said, and we'll talk to Caleb Davis about this coming up, the retention's the key piece. How was San Diego State good this year? They kept Trey White. They kept Tano Latuli. Right? They kept Chris Johnson. That's why San Diego State was good this year. That's the big part of their offseason. We're going to look at this signing class and say it's good. And I think it is. But the big part of their offseason for Caleb Davis is like retaining linebacker Owen Chambliss, retaining Jaden Denigal, and keeping pieces on the Mesa.
Yeah, that's college football now is, can you retain your best players, or can you retain most of your best players? Can you do well in the transfer portal? And then the recruiting class is kind of like your bullpen. Like you're getting guys ready to perform in hopefully 2 years from now. But really you're going out, you're getting starters through the transfer portal. And you're hoping to keep your starters that, from transferring. And then you have in the back here, you have all your recruiting class. But Sean Lewis has shown that he is okay to start a true freshman.
True.
Danny O'Neal started for this team as a true freshman at quarterback. So like that gives some hope to these recruits that, hey, he's willing to start true freshmen. And if I prove myself, then I could start right away in college.
Yeah, it's a very good point. By the way, speaking of the Aztecs, we'll talk to Caleb Davis in about 5 minutes. From a bowl game perspective, Jim, and they'll find out Sunday. And I don't think they know. Because Sean was asked about it today. I don't think they know. There's so many moving parts. What's your preference? Like, is it the opponent? Is it the location? Is it the date? Is it the network? What's of most importance to you to watch this game? Is it who they're playing?
I think it's the network.
Okay. So where you'll find the game, when it's on.
I think the more eyeballs on the team, the better.
Yeah.
Regardless of where it's at.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I also think people like if you can somehow stumble into a P4 opponent like that,
the rumor yesterday, Iowa State, right? In Texas.
I missed that. Was that during my colonoscopy?
I think it was. I think
Iowa State and Texas, or in Texas?
No, Iowa State in Texas.
I was going to say, isn't Texas going to be in the college football playoff?
Not Texas. Not Texas.
Relax. I don't know if we need to see the Longhorns. Iowa State, San Diego State, and Texas. Where do I sign up?
Yeah. Now that's just like a rumor out there, but they're probably going to get some. I mean, look, I think opponent does matter, but don't you want it on the best network, right? Don't
you
want
like
the most
a desirable
on
time, like like 5 o'clock Pacific on a Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, you don't want like a
noon,
a 10 a.m. or
Tuesday.
Random Tuesday, 10 a.m. start. You're like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think to me, yes, network matters, but to me, opponent matters. Although you want to be able to also win the game. Like, would you rather play Iowa State and let's say, you don't win that game, or would you rather play someone out of the MAC and win the game and get to 10 wins? Like, what's better from a narrative perspective or program perspective?
I mean, probably the 10 wins, but at the same time, I think the opportunity to play a P4 school, I think Sean Lewis would take that over playing a MAC school. When you say,
yeah, I think so. I think that's probably the preference. Although I'm speaking for him, I have no idea. All right, Caleb Davis, we can ask Caleb about it coming up at 3 p.m. More on this signing class for 2026 for the Aztecs. More on the portal and retention. Everything involving San Diego State football off a +6 turnaround from last year, from 3-9 to 9-3, getting ready for a bowl game. Their GM, Caleb Davis, on the other side. Plus, we're giving away Aztec basketball tickets for next Wednesday against Lamar, coming up on the show as well. Hour 2, John and Jim, coming up next. Stay with us.
All right, this update is brought to you by Taco Bell. San Diego State basketball is back tonight at Viejas Arena as they take on Utah Valley, 7 p.m. tip time. Our pregame coverage starts at 6 p.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760 and NBA News of the day. The Clippers released Chris Paul. Paul already announced earlier this season that he was going to retire at the end of this season, and the Clippers just released Paul today. Taco Bell's Luxe Craving Box gives you decadent options. $5 gets you fan favorites, $7 gets you the fancy stuff, and $9 sends you on a journey of flavor exploration. Get yours at participating stores for a limited time. Prices and participation may vary. Drinks exclude freezes. Taxes extra.
Getting you all set for that drive home. Let's just start the show. Here's John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 2 of John and Jim here until 6 p.m. As Jim just said, getting you ready for Aztecs basketball tonight against Utah Valley. We do have basketball tickets to give away. We'll do that in the 4 o'clock hour, but great to connect right now with Caleb Davis, San Diego State football general manager, back with us on John and Jim on this, the day that San Diego State announces its signing class are early signees for 2026. So Caleb, good seeing you earlier. Thanks for hopping on this afternoon as well. Just from a general 30,000 foot perspective for Aztec fans, like what were the goals in putting this high school class together and how were you able to accomplish them? And how do you feel about this class overall?
Yeah, absolutely. So first off, thanks for having me on, guys. Always a pleasure, always a joy. I think the number one thing for us was how can we win the city of San Diego County, and also just the rest of the state with Southern California. I mean, we've got the best football in the country right here. Don't have to go too far for it. So I'm really proud of just how many kids we were able to keep home, keep in the state, and really, really prioritize that.
So we were talking about him last segment here. Brady Campbell, 3-star quarterback.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about him, and what could Aztecs fans expect to see from Brady?
Absolutely. Great late get to our class. We were able to actually, I know there were a couple surprises today. Wink, wink, might be one more to come here in a little bit, but no. So over the last week, we were able to finish strong with this class. And Brady was one of those, and he's a big framed developmental prospect. So look forward to adding him to the program.
All right, Caleb Davis is with us right now. I don't even know if you can. I'm kind of doing this on the fly. I just saw that Cam Purnell out of Lincoln just tweeted that he is now a San Diego State commit. Have you guys? Yeah, now it's official from San Diego State football. That Cam Purnell has signed. He's out of Lincoln High School. You mentioned the importance of San Diego County, Southern California. I don't know if you can speak on Cam specifically, but even if you can you go further in the conversation? I think this year there were maybe 18 San Diegans on the roster, including like the entirety of the running back room. What does it mean to Sean, yourself, and the staff to keep players within, 30, 60, 100 miles here in San Diego?
Oh, that's the heart and soul of this program. Keeping some of these local kids home. It really starts with the guys on the roster, a Trey White, a Tano Latuli, all these kids that are from here that just keep on putting on for the city. So I did get the email about 30 minutes ago. I can officially talk about Cam.
Okay.
So I'm fired up. We had him out on a visit in the summer, and he had a long, drawn out process of, do I want to go out and explore new things? But man, he's a true hometown hero, local legend, whatever you want to call it. We're fired up to add him and to be able to keep some of the best football players in the city home. There's nothing better than that, man.
So earlier today, Sean Lewis saying this is the highest rated class for San Diego State. Do you take anything from that, or do you say like, oh, that's awesome, we want to get the highest rated class, or is it more about the players than getting high rankings as far as your class goes?
I'll say this: perception is reality. Mm-hmm. So for us, to be honest, do I value this kid's ranked higher than this kid? No, not at all. But what it does do is it helps us build momentum towards the future classes. And as you can continue to stack classes on classes on classes, keeping a kid like Cam home and continuing to develop, the floor of your roster, it just helps in the future. So is it important to winning football games? Probably not, but is it important to continuing momentum and developing, the best Southern California route, to developing all of that. Like, yes, that matters. That's important. And I think it's important to the future high school kids that are keeping San Diego State on their radar.
I want to ask you about another San Diegan. Again, Caleb Davis is with us, San Diego State's general manager. We also want to get into like retention. You think about this past year, one of the keys for the Aztecs was retaining all these pieces, and San Diego State goes from 3-9 to 9-3. But another local player, Carson Deal, wide receiver out of La Jolla High. They've had such a good football program here in San Diego. What can you say about Carson and some of his skill set and what he's going to bring to this roster moving forward?
Man, Carson might have the best recruiting story out of anyone, because he's a kid who over the last couple of years, did he get an offer? Is he like what's going on? Well, he came back and he had a 7-on-7 camp with his team over the summer. And you talk about a kid that just worked his tail off. Like, whenever a big play needed to be happen, like, it didn't matter if he's playing safety or receiver, needs a game-winning touchdown. Like, he made about 4 or 5 game-winning plays in those 6 games that it was like, we'd be idiots not to keep this kid home. And he's from right here. Like, it was so cool to see it all culminate, all come together, and see his recruiting process eventually end with the Aztecs.
I know we're looking ahead, but just to look back real quick, a little bit of a disappointing end to the season, losing in double overtime, not getting selected to play in the Mountain West Conference title game. But what can you say about, this year's team improving off of 3 wins last year, getting to 9 wins this year with a chance to win 10 in the bowl game when you guys find out this upcoming weekend? What can you say about, this regular season so far for this group of kids?
What gets me really fired up is the fact that this season is the standard. This is the start of the Sean Lewis era. And to be able to put together a year like we had, year 2, and continue with one more opportunity to finish with double-digit wins, like, this is the standard. This is the starting point. This is the floor. And I'm excited for how much further we can go. I think that double overtime loss, obviously that hurts, that we had the vision of a championship all year long, and right, wrong, or indifferent, we weren't able to grasp it. But what I think it does do is it teaches these kids life lessons that you can't learn any other way than football. So to be able to start off with a season like this and know that this is the floor and this is what, San Diegans across the city can expect year to year, I'm just so much more fired up about what else is to come and what the future looks like.
It's really well said. Caleb Davis with us right now on John and Jim, San Diego State's football general manager. So, Caleb, as you know, you think about some of these players retained this past year, not just some of the best players in the conference. Some of the best football players in the country. When you think about the Trey Whites and the Chris Johnsons and the Tana Latulis and the Jordan Napiers and your center in Ross. So many pieces were retained, and we all saw the benefits on field. So now coming off the 9-win season, how much more challenging will it be to keep your key pieces in place moving into 2026?
Absolutely. I think the national spotlight has kind of shined on San Diego State athletics a little bit. And, it's a great challenge, but we've got a great group of kids that want to be here, that understand that the grass ain't always greener. And I think it is a great opportunity for the city to come together. We're still rolling with the Finish the Climb campaign, where we've got an anonymous donor willing to match up to $1 million gifts that the community can rally together and help fundraise. I know we're well on our way there. You can go to Aztecs.com/Finish the Climb. Like, I'm really, really excited about what this is going to help us do to retain the roster. And I've had a lot of great conversations. These kids, they want to be here. They want to finish what we started. They want to develop San Diego State athletics into being not just a conference championship contending program, but a college football playoff contending program. And I think it's something that we took a giant leap this year, but we got to keep on climbing and keep on raising the standards every single day.
So you guys will find out where you'll be playing this upcoming weekend, what bowl you guys be in. Do you have a preference? We were talking about this last segment. Like, if you were to choose like the best network, or maybe like a P4 school, or the best possible bowl, like is there a preference for you that you want to see this upcoming weekend when you guys get selected for where you're going bowling?
My only preference is that we play the toughest, most talented, and most hungry team, because I'm really, really excited for these guys to go out with a bang, and I want them to go out with some great, whether it's Power 4 competition, whatever it is. Like, I want these guys to go out with a bang. And I'll be honest, I haven't looked at what the projections might be or who we might play, but I know we got a great group of kids that want to finish it off the right way.
Caleb, we appreciate you taking time for us. Again, an exciting day on the Mesa, the 2026 football class, by and large in the books, although maybe not fully completed. And then, of course, the portal's going to open. Let's just, I guess I'll end on that, because we're just a couple of weeks away from the portal opening. You're the general manager.
I'm sure you're ready for that, right?
Yeah, what does that even mean? I mean, what is that like when this portal opens? We know what it means internally, because players on this roster are able to enter the portal, but externally, as you look at players to fill holes for 2026, what does it look like in your world as you get ready for a transfer portal to open?
Well, I'll be honest, that process has probably started 2 months ago, because if you're not prepared for it, if you're not looking at every single possible outcome that could come up, then you're already 2 steps behind. So we're watching potential portal prospects, who could go in, who are some local Southern California kids that maybe got recruited out of state but might want to come back home. Like, that's all being done 2 months in advance, and you got to be ready for every possibility, every scenario, and be ready to just jump on it. So we'll be having visits as soon as January 2nd opens, and it'll be about a 2-week mad dash, mad rush until we put together the most competitive roster San Diego State can.
Really nothing like it, I would say, in sports. Just the idea that in professional sports, every single athlete would be a free agent every single year. That is truly unique, and that's basically where we are right now in college athletics. Again, it benefited San Diego State this past year when you look at the results on field, and we're looking forward to 2026 and beyond. But Caleb, congratulations on today. Looking forward to the bowl game, the upcoming transfer portal in January as well. And thanks as always for joining us.
Awesome. Appreciate you for having me.
All right, great stuff. All right, great stuff. I think Brent cut him off during the Go Aztecs. Nice job, Brent.
Go at.
Caleb Davis, San Diego State's general manager, with us here on John and Jim. Interesting times. Is there a more unique job in college athletics than general manager? No, the answer is no.
There used to never be general managers in college athletics. Like now, this is like a prominent role. Like, you have to have a GM, or at least good programs have GMs, because there's just so much on the plate of the head coach if you don't, and you can't operate that way. And I think bringing on Caleb to fill that GM role for this team and this program, like that's what good programs do. And I think, it's a good point for this Aztec program going forward, that they're in a good spot with the head coach and the GM. And if you're an Aztec fan, you got to be excited about the future for sure.
All right, we're going to switch gears back to the Padres on the other side, because for whatever reason, Craig Stammen is going to the Dominican to watch Luis Campusano play.
And eat fried chicken.
And eat fried chicken too. So we'll hear from the manager of the Padres, Craig Stammen, from the Dominican on the other side. He's there to watch Luis Campusano and others. And like Jim said, eat fried chicken as well. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Aztec basketball coming up tonight at 7. Pregame coverage at 6. We'll give away tickets for the next Aztecs game. That is a week from tonight against Lamar at Viejas Arena. We'll give those tickets away at some point during the 4 o'clock hour. Didn't Mike Schilt often do what Craig Stammen is doing right now? That is like barnstorming the world in an effort to connect with Padres players in off seasons. Didn't he do that when he first came in?
Yeah, he's like, I was just with Crony in Chicago, and I went to see Manny down here, and I went to Toddy's house in the DR. Like, apparently it's a thing when you become the Padres' new manager. To get initiated, you have to go visit the players in their, home countries.
Which is interesting because it's not like it's college football where you're recruiting these players to stay, but basically you need them pulling on the same rope as you are pulling on. So what we're about to hear is an interview with Craig Stammen from a Dominican Winter League game. Okay, this is in the Dominican. These questions are in Spanish, right? Some of this is in Spanish.
Oh, it's in Spanish and then English. In English.
He asked some questions in Spanish and then asked some questions in English and then translates in Spanish. But you're going to hear from the Padres manager. Why is he in the Dominican? What is he doing in the Dominican? This is Craig Stammen.
Craig, welcome to Licey TV. It's an honor and a pleasure to have you here. How you feel in the stadium?
Yeah, this is very exciting. This is my first winter ball game, and here to see Luis Campusano, one of our catchers for the Padres, and this is a great atmosphere. It's awesome to see some baseball in the winter.
Le preguntaba de cómo se siente venir aquí al estadio. Me dice que se siente bien, que vino a ver a Luis Campusano, uno de los receptores de los Padres de San Diego. Y Craig es la primera temporada que va a tener como dirigente de Grandes Ligas. Craig, you talked to Fernando Tatis and Manny Machado, one of the guys already?
Yeah, I've talked to all the players down here to visit some of the guys that live in the DR. Fernando Tatis, Wandy Peralta, Randy Vasquez, Ramon Laureano. So been able to talk to them, break bread with them, see where they live, see how they grew up, and it's pretty exciting.
Dice que vino a ver a Fernando Tatis, a algunos de los muchachos, a Ramón Laureano, de dónde nacieron, cómo es su cultura, y para aprender un poquito de ellos y llevarse mejor con su nuevo equipo de los Padres de San Diego. Talk to me a little bit about the food, what you tried out already, and what kind of food you like already.
They've been taking me to I ate at Fernando's house. We ate at a Dominican restaurant today. All great food. I had goat for the first time. That was pretty good. I had a great little bean and rice bowl with some fried chicken. So fried chicken is muy bueno here.
Dice que ya fue con Fernando Tatis, lo llevó a algunos restaurantes dominicanos que le encanta. Le gusta el pollo frito, es lo que más le gusta. But just to finish with this interview and go to the transmission, what do you see about the difference here, the United States and this Winter League?
I think there's a lot. It's louder here. There's a lot more energy in the stadium. But in the end, it's just baseball on the field. It's the same in the big leagues and the minor leagues, the same in winter ball. All these guys out here love playing baseball, and they're showing that on the field and making the fans happy.
They're not losing this year. After hearing that,
they're going 162-0.
Craig Stammen has his team ready to go. He's watching Luis Campusano
and eating fried chicken and goat.
He loves the goat. He went to Toddy's house. So it sounds like quite the offseason for Craig Stammen.
Do you find it odd that he's down there specifically watching Luis Campusano?
Why? Because you think that means Campusano is in their future?
Like, he was basically shunned from this team all last year and the last 2 years, mainly because I think Mike Schilt didn't like him. And now you got Craig Stammen, first-time manager in the Dominican Republic. I think that's where he was, right?
What do you think it's where he was? Yes.
Watching Luis Campusano play baseball. That's like if Dave Roberts went to wherever to watch his 26th man on the roster play baseball.
Well, here's the thing. Campy's made the team. They gave him a major league deal.
By default. I know.
Yeah,
but they
by
have
default, you're 100% right. I mean, they're going to need, and by the way, when you make the team as a catcher, you start 60 games because backup catchers don't play 20 games. They start a lot of games. You could start more than 60 games as a backup catcher. So does it explain where they are? That Luis Campusano is going to be like a prominent figure on next year's team. I mean, they need this guy to be better. As simple like this is like a quad A masterclass. This guy's the best quad A player in baseball today. Completely tore up the PCL and went hitless
bonds of AAA
right. So it's time to take that step from AAA through Quad A to the major leagues for Luis Campusano, but it kind of speaks to where they are. I mean, it might be more of an offseason about watching Luis Campusano than signing, name the player, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, filling out your rotation. Like,
did you talk about whoever that signed yesterday with Toronto?
Yeah, the guy that we talked about,
Cody Ponce or Ponce?
Yeah, the Dong Award winner.
That's right. He won the Dong and he went to Toronto.
3 years, $30 million. Not saying that that's like overpriced for him, but
right.
I don't know. I guess the Padres weren't willing to go that amount of money, or even if they were interested, even though Jeff Passan said that Cody Ponce would be the Padres' big offseason signing. So now what?
Right. That was like their big. And to your point, Jeff Passan was saying their biggest allocation might be to Ponce or Ponce, and that's only $10 million a year. Like that's not a big. That's like the way they got Pivetta. I mean, Pivetta was a much larger deal than 3 for 30, 4 for 50 something last offseason.
Pivetta, it was
4 for 54.
4 for 54, 4 for 55 with like an opt out after 2 years.
So I'm like crossing fingers and hoping at some point they'll spend. We haven't even reached the winter meetings or
come on,
days
real
from the winter meetings.
They're not spending, John.
Well, I mean, they're gonna have to spend something.
Well, they'll spend something, but they're not going to be spending and going out and, hey, we just brought back Michael King on a 5-year, $130 million contract.
You saw that Tigers report? Was that yesterday or today?
That was yesterday.
Was that during the colonoscopy or after?
That was after the colonoscopy. That was like after the show report.
That the Tigers are interested in King.
Makes sense. I mean, Michael King's a good pitcher. Pair him with Skubal. That's a pretty good 1-2 punch.
But you're saying that players, like, do you think that players like Ponce or Ponce are off the board that are going to make 10 to 15 a year? Back end starting rotation pieces, they're probably going to make more than that.
Here's the thing. If the Padres want to go out and get quality arms, the price for quality arms starts at like 10, 11, $12 million
at least
a year.
Yeah.
And if they're not willing to do that, then they're SOL. So like, what are they going to do? And I had Kyle Glazer on yesterday while you were getting cleaned out. And, and he mentions like, hey, look, when a team goes through a sale or, you know, like a team is put up for sale, that you're not going to see a bunch of money being spent in the offseason. Like you're just not. And the fact that Jeff Passan yesterday put out that they need to move money tells me kind of everything you need to know, and how next week during the winter meetings could be a very quiet winter meetings for the Padres.
So you don't think Joe Lacob behind the scenes is pulling strings in an effort to bring Michael King home?
No, I don't think so.
I think we're a little early in that process. I agree with you.
Yeah, just a little early.
All right. Is tonight a must-win game for the Aztecs? Plus, we'll give away some Aztec tickets for a week from tonight at Viejas Arena. What'd you say?
I said, what?
Is tonight a must-win game for the Aztecs?
Let me answer that for you. Yes.
Oh,
next
great.
Topic.
Great tease. That's next. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app, you idiot. Hey guys, it is Schaefer, and there is no better time than now to get down to your local Toyota dealer with new vehicles arriving daily, including their most popular cars and trucks and SUVs. So whatever kind of vehicle you're looking for, you can hurry into your Toyota dealer today, or make sure to head to Toyota.com if you're looking for a great deal on a new Toyota. There you can check out all the latest offers and search inventory. Finding the Toyota that's just right for you starts at Toyota.com. Toyota's Beyond Zero lineup of electrified vehicles helps to create a greener planet. Toyota's Beyond Zero lineup supports a greener planet with a wide range of electrified vehicles, including hybrids, plug-in hybrids, and fully electric vehicles, or take each day further than you thought possible in a new Camry with its stylish looks that'll make an impression wherever you go. See your Toyota dealer today and discover what makes Camry legendary. There's no better time than now to get your local Toyota dealer. Get your local Toyota dealer now, or Toyota.com. That's Toyota.com. Your Toyota dealers, we make it easy.
All right, this update is brought to you by Staples Stores. Aztecs basketball back tonight at Viejas Arena as they take on Utah Valley. 7 p.m. tip time. Our pregame coverage starts at 6 p.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760. And NBA news of the day: the Clippers released Chris Paul, even though Chris Paul announced earlier this year this was going to be his final season. Well, the Clippers released him. Have an easy holiday only at Staples. Save on top tech and gaming gifts, plus shipping supplies and services to get your packages delivered safely. Don't forget custom cards, invites, photo gifts, wrapping paper, and more. Staples, that was easy.
All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. We'll give away some Aztec tickets for a week from tonight at Viejas Arena. Coming up, I asked on the way out, is it a must-win for the Aztecs tonight? You ruined that. Before we get into the Aztecs, I just sent you this tweet. I don't fully understand this, but this is pretty cool. So Luka last night, was it December 2nd yesterday? Yeah. So Luka last night against the Suns. So he's represented by Jordan Brand, and he's been wearing different like college edition Jordan Brand shoes, like schools that are represented by Jordan Brand, North Carolina, for example. Well, San Diego State is a Jordan Brand school, right? Luka last night was in player edition San Diego State Jordans.
That's
so
sick.
Like that is ridiculous. That's I just asked Matt Soria at San Diego State about it. But yeah, Luka was wearing San Diego State all red player edition Jordans last night for the Lakers at Staples.
2 nights ago.
I'm sorry, 2 nights ago? Is that when it was?
Yeah, it was against the Suns where they lost 125-108.
Oh, great. They lost.
He scored 38 points. He had 38 points, 11 rebounds,
Jeez.
5 assists. He did have 9 turnovers, so not the best night for Luka.
Where do we get these shoes? Can I get these for like $80? Or should I just text him and be like, can I have your shoes?
$80.
But that's pretty cool. Like,
how much do you think those shoes are? I mean, are those even available? Like,
are you auctioning? No, they're not, because PEs are issued only to players. So like San Diego State has PE shoes for their players. And then of course NBA has that same thing. So I don't know if these get auctioned or where they ultimately end up. I would imagine shoes worn by Luka Doncic eventually get auctioned off.
He's a Nike guy, right? Yeah, he's a Nike.
Well, yeah, he's a Jordan Brand guy.
He has to be. I mean, he can't wear anything other than that.
Yeah, exactly. But it's super cool that he was wearing those the other night. Unfortunately.
Yeah, those are 6 shoes.
Yeah, aren't they cool? There's a couple of images from this, I don't know, this account, Luka Don Kicks, because it profiles his shoes. And there's a close-up, actually, if you look at the tweet before, a close-up of him wearing these red shoes in that Lakers gold uniform 2 nights ago at Staples. All right, I don't think he has eligibility, by the way. I don't expect him to walk out of that locker room tonight for San Diego State.
You don't think Luka is going to just, come on the court and be like, hey, guys, what's up?
What would Luka do tonight? Seriously. All right, 40-minute game, Utah Valley.
Here's my question.
College line.
If Luka is on Utah Valley, does Utah Valley win tonight?
Dude, I mean, Luka's it's like top 3 player in the world.
Well, no, the answer is absolutely yes. But like,
I mean, Utah Valley might win without. I mean, they're good.
Utah Valley might win without. What's the line tonight?
It's like 8 on KenPom.
Oh, okay.
It's not a big number.
If you put Luka on Utah Valley, do they win the national championship?
You said if Wemby was on Air Force, they would. So I don't see why Utah Valley wouldn't with Luka.
100% they would with Luka.
Wait, do you think a team has a better chance of winning a national championship with Luka or with Wemby? I say Wemby because there's no one that looks like Wemby anywhere in basketball. At least there's players that are guards in college there's no centers that look like Wemby anywhere in the world.
I'll say Luka, because I think guard play in the tournament wins games and gets you to Final Fours. Now, don't get me wrong. If you had Wemby on the team, yeah, of course you're making the Final Four. But that's a good question. Would you take Luka or Wemby on your college basketball team? Doesn't matter what school it is. Like Air Force, take Air Force. Yeah. Luka on Air Force. Do they win the Natty?
I mean, you say yes. I don't think it's as simple as that.
I think it's simple when you say Wemby.
You do say that with Wemby.
But you're right. Maybe not with Luka, but still, I mean, Luka would average 50 a game? Like, come on.
Like, what do you need NIL wise to get Luka? Like, what do you need? Like all your money?
All your money for the next 50 years.
Basically. All right. So bring it back home. You're calling it a must win tonight for San Diego State. They cannot lose to Utah Valley a week removed from the last game against Baylor in Vegas, back home, Viejas Arena. This is a must-win tonight for San Diego State. Is that what you're telling me?
If San Diego State loses tonight to Utah Valley, the only way they'll be able to make the tournament is by winning the conference championship.
Yeah,
in Vegas.
That's probably accurate. Yeah,
that's it. They can't. There's their margin for error. Done. They don't have a margin for error anymore. Once they get in the regular season in the Mountain West Conference, I'm sorry, you can't lose to Air Force. You can't lose to like Wyoming's. You can't lose to San Jose State's. Just that can't happen. You lost all of your wiggle room, and they have nobody to blame but themselves. And so going forward, they're going to have a really good regular season. And if they don't, then the only way for them to get in will be by winning the Mountain West Conference tournament. And especially if they lose tonight, there's no way to get in other than that. Yeah,
there was an article, I think last night, posted by Mark Ziegler, and it had quotes from Dutch saying, and Dutch said in this article, where are the quotes? I put them on look at my nice sheets, Jim. You can see on YouTube. Aren't those
nice?
Aren't those pretty?
Those are cute.
Colorful. Print those out at FedEx. If you want to
do you make those yourself or do you pay someone to do it?
You want to do an endorsement, FedEx.
Yeah, I'm sure they're on it.
I'm sure they're listening.
Yeah. Sure, our sales team's like, oh, dude, I got a great idea.
What do you think? Do you think I make these or do you think I buy these?
I think you make them because if you bought them, they wouldn't be done how you want it to be done.
I buy them, but then I put in all the information.
Wow, you're so soft. No, dude,
I buy like some of the like proprietary data. Like I don't want to put in what a guy shoots from three, what a guy's field goal percentage is. It's so much work.
Soft.
So
take pride in your work, John. Do
I buy some of that, but then I put the notes in. Like if you look at some of these notes, I'm putting those notes in.
What are you doing? You're like I can't read that. Nor can any of our listeners that are watching on YouTube or viewers on YouTube, and no one can read that on the radio, John.
Yeah, I can read that on the radio.
Yeah, you're like putting the thing up to the camera. You're like, hey, look at this. Everyone listening on radio is like, what's going on right now?
Anyway, I had a quote here from Dutch on my boards. Okay, here it is. Oh, we're in full urgency mode.
I thought you were going to say we're screwed.
No, we're in full urgency mode. We've lost 3 or 4. How can you not be in urgency mode? You look at all the talent, but it's not the talent that matters. It's the team that matters. We have to take the talent and make this a better team. Brian Dutcher yesterday to Mark Ziegler. That's as matter of fact as you're going to find from Dutch, basically saying now is the time. There's no more time to basically find out who we are. That's a process that we need to now do. And I'm with you. You can't really have a slip up from here on out, which is, again, a lot easier said than done for San Diego State because there's a lot of basketball to be played. They've only played 6 games. They got 20-something games still to play.
Yeah, and they missed, an opportunity in the NIL tournament. The win over Oregon was nice, but Oregon's net is what, in the 190s?
They lost last night to USC.
Yeah. So you missed an opportunity in the NIL tournament to have like a signature win. You lost to Troy. And so with that, your non-conference schedule, you didn't really help you out much. If anything, it hurt you because you lost to Troy. So Utah Valley tonight, I agree with Dutch. He's absolutely right. They're in urgency mode. And it sucks that it's December 3rd and they're already there, but it's what happened. They have no one to blame but themselves. And the loss to Troy, I really hope that doesn't come to bite them in the ass because I think this team is much better than that. They have a talented team. They just have to become a team. And that has taken some time, especially with a team that has a lot of depth. You have to figure out everybody's roles. I looked at the start of the season. I'm like, oh, depth, that's great. Now you're looking at it as like, is this going to be a problem for this team because of the lineups? And there's certain lineups that are good, certain lineups are bad. And, Dutch is sitting there being like, I have so many options. I got to figure out which ones works the best. It might take a while to figure that out.
Did we talk about, we probably didn't, me and you. LZ Harrington is a true freshman. Was put
91% from 3.
We didn't talk about that. He was put into the starting lineup.
I know.
In his 6th game of his college career. That was against Baylor last Wednesday night in Las Vegas, and he was terrific in that game. It'll be interesting to see who starts tonight for Brian Dutcher. You bring up a good point. They've got a lot of talent. Now it's about playing, the right group, so to speak, because, like it's cliche, it's adage, there's one basketball. And the depth, I think, will matter over the course of a year. I really do believe their depth will matter over the course of a year. But like in the short term tonight, what does it take to win? And if it takes the right 8 or the right 7 or the right 10 or the right 12, you know, like whatever the hot hand is, it'll be interesting to see how they kind of orchestrate their way through this game tonight. And LZ Harrington very quickly has become like a central focus of this team, which I think is pretty exciting for Aztec fans and for Harrington. And we'll see, like, does he take a next step?
Dude's one of their best players already.
He's been terrific. I mean, he's been terrific.
You trust him. Who's the point guard that transferred? I'm forgetting his name right now.
The point guard that transferred
all the assists.
Oh, that transferred in? Sean Newman.
Sean Newman, yeah.
Yep.
It kind of feels like LZ has jumped Sean Newman here in the rotation. And I mean, you see why. Sean Newman, not really a scorer, right? And you expect him to make the right plays. And I remember in that Troy game, there were some plays that he made, and you're like, I don't know. So LZ Harrington, you know, he's gone out there, he's played really well, and he's jumped Newman, and he's been put in the starting lineup, and good, because he's a really good player. I when we talked to him at Broken Yoke, I was like, wow, that kid's a freshman.
Yeah.
So his game, you like his game a lot, and now I think Dutch is going to be looking at this team and like, all right, I gotta maybe shorten these rotations a little bit, because to have 10, 11 deep, that could be a problem. It showed that in the first, handful of games this year.
Now, you are out east for these holidays. Will you be now? Do you have KUSI where you are in with Erin and her family?
I mean, I have YouTube TV on my phone.
Okay, then the answer is yes.
Let me see here.
You are, or do you? Do you still have those channels while you're away, or have they given you now local channels?
Yeah, might be tough.
They're soft. Figure out a way. 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, San Diego State, taking on Utah Valley. If you're an Aztec fan, this is a very important game. This will be a good game. Utah Valley is not a pushover. This will be a good game. On the other side, we'll give away tickets for next week. A week from tonight, San Diego State and Lamar at Viejas Arena. We'll give that away on the other side. Caleb Davis, if you missed our conversation with San Diego State football GM Caleb Davis, you'll hear that again coming up at 5 p.m. Much more on Joe Lacob and his potential interest in buying the San Diego Padres as well. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app. Hey guys, it is John and Jim again for the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. And as we've been telling you, now open, the hotel and spa at Jamul. It is the next level of luxury. You can treat yourself to a stunning new stay, rooftop relaxation, indulgent spa treatments, and all the thrills of Jamul Casino Resort, now all in one unforgettable destination.
Ultimate endless dining experience at Jamul 23, from their world famous lobster brunch served every morning to the luxurious VIP endless dining experience each evening. Indulge in chef created specialties, fresh seafood, prime cuts, and decadent desserts, all with stunning panoramic views.
And you're going to want to check out that spa. It is now open. Jamul Spa at Jamul Casino Resort. Unwind in style. Experience pure relaxation with indulgent treatments, serene spaces, and a retreat designed to refresh your body and mind. Only at Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. All right, John and Jim will give away some Aztec tickets for next Wednesday night against Lamar coming up in, let's say, the next 10 minutes. So be listening for that. If you miss Caleb Davis, San Diego State football GM, you'll hear that conversation at 5 p.m. The Dodgers have re-signed a player that had one of the biggest moments in the history of the World Series, which dates back over 100 years. Nearly 150 at this point, 125 years. We've had World Series since the early 1900s. Miguel Rojas.
Oh my gosh, they re-signed him?
Without Miguel Rojas, we're all celebrating the Blue Jays, right?
Oh my God.
But Miguel Rojas.
Why even play the season?
Now, he did absolutely nothing during the year. But when you hit a game-tying home run to extend a World Series in Game 7 on the road, that's a pretty big moment. He's going to get 1 year, Jim, final year of his big league career. He's already announced that previously. He will retire after this year. 1 year, 5.5. Will the Padres spend 5.5 this offseason? Miguel Rojas, 1 year, 5.5 back to the Dodgers. Without Rojas, the Dodgers don't win the World Series last year.
Also, his defensive play in the extra innings as well.
Oh, good point.
Yeah, which was equally as important. I mean, he doesn't make that play, they lose.
Yeah, but other than those two plays, whatever.
That's just
those
insane.
massive moments.
Miguel freaking Rojas, dude. Like, I don't know, man.
I know. But that's kind of what it takes sometimes. We talk about that. We always are like, oh, Manny needs to be Manny. I agree. We all agree. Like for the Dodgers, it's like, yeah, you need your good players to be good, but you also need, it's still the sport of baseball. You're going to play a playoff game and you're going to trail 3-2 and you're going to need someone to come up clutch, even if it's 7, 8, 9 batting in your order. You know?
You need the others. I always talk about this because what Shaq always talks about, like, your superstars, yeah, they'll take you home, but you need those others to contribute because without the others, it's just, you're not going to win. Like you can have guys carry, and we've seen that before in sports. Like, we've seen certain players in baseball and football and basketball, like carry a team to a championship. And they're like, how did that team win a championship? And you look at the roster and like, what? But it's just, for the Dodgers to be a super team and Miguel Rojas, probably the most important player for them in Game 7, or not probably, was the most important player for them in Game 7. That's baseball right there. That's baseball 100%. For you.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, you look at the difference between winning and losing is complete rosters a lot. We get so enamored with high level talent. I do. I'm guilty as charged. Like you sign Trey Turner in an offseason, like, wow, Trey Turner.
Amazing.
I mean, and don't get me wrong, it all matters, but you've seen the Angels with Trout and Ohtani in their primes, and you've seen them do nothing. You've seen the Padres with a lot of talent, and they've had good years and bad years in there. So there's no assurance because you are talented or top heavy, you're going to have a great team. It's about fielding a complete roster. I thought in 2024, that's where we gave AJ Preller a ton of credit. He put together a complete team, a little bit like the Dodgers had done, over the last 10 plus years. So, again, are we gonna sit here and praise, like if they signed Cody Ponce and they didn't, right? He goes to the Blue Jays. You're gonna sit there and be like, well, that's the difference between winning or losing a World Series. No, you're not gonna do that. But at the point remains that you got to complete your roster. You have to have a competent rotation. And that's still in front of AJ Preller. I'm curious to see what happens next week, Jim. I mean, is anything going to come out of the winter meetings next week involving the Padres to complete their roster? Because you'd like to think that it's an important week for the organization heading to, the baseball winter meetings with a lot of work to do.
If the only thing that comes out of the winter meetings next week is AJ Preller signs his contract extension, would you
take that?
Take that?
Yeah, I would take that. I would take that because it's better than the alternative, which is nothing.
Right. Like no news at all.
Yeah. Like what if nothing comes out of the winter meetings? No news on Preller, no news on ownership, no news on free agency. Just whatever. 4 days of, in the Rule 5 draft, they select a reliever.
Shoot me.
So
if the Rule 5 draft is the most talked about thing with the Padres next week, how could you as a Padres fan be excited about the offseason? Honestly, like how could you be as a Padres fan if the number one thing coming out of the winter meetings next week is, oh, we signed a player in the Rule 5 draft. What? That's it. If that is it, I mean, That's not going to be good.
Are you expecting anything beyond that? Like, hey, they 2-year 28 for some number 5 starter. Like, is that possible next week?
Honestly, dude, no. Like I don't really have much faith that they're going to go out and sign a couple pitchers or sign a pitcher or make a couple trades. Like I just don't. I think once again AJ Preller's hands are tied behind his back, and he's going to have to Tetris this thing together and go dumpster dive in and try to piece this thing together through a budget. I mean, he's done it obviously the last 2 years, so he has experience doing it. But this team now needs some pretty big pieces to fill these holes. Like you need multiple starting pitchers, right? You need a first baseman. You need bench depth, right? If you're going to trade Jake Cronenworth to free up some money, you'll now need a second baseman. So yeah, I don't know how what they're going to do or how they're going to do it, but I am very intrigued to see exactly what they do because it could be very quiet, and that's, I mean, Craig Stammen. You hire Craig Stammen as a manager, crickets. I mean, come on, give me a break. Like I think Craig Stammen's a nice guy, and I like Craig Stammen, but he has nothing to sell tickets or excite the fan base at all. And what are you going to do in the offseason to make your team better?
I mean, go make a trade at least. Like give me Sandy Alcantara, who we've talked about for 10 years.
I like that.
Give me Mackenzie Gore back. It's not going to happen. But you know what I mean? Like give me an intriguing starting pitching name that is controllable and won't cost you your entire system to acquire. Now, I don't know if that's possible or not with like kind of a frontline guy, maybe not an ace, but like a 2 or a 3 in a rotation. Can you do that if you're AJ Preller at the winter meetings? Can you move some of your system again that you've constantly turned to improve your big league roster? Is that possible at some point in December?
Well, you're probably going to have to, John. Like you probably have to do that if you're not going to go out and sign players or pitchers for 10, 11, 12. Yeah, real money. You're going to have to get creative and do it like that, honestly.
All right, perfect. So go trade for Mackenzie Gore and Sandy Alcantara and whomever else, and everything's great.
Everything's fine.
That's my solution.
Bring Mackenzie Gore back. Everything's great.
Bring him home. All right, how about this? Caller 7, you're going to see the Aztecs a week from tonight, 7 days from now, against Lamar at Viejas Arena. We have 2 free tickets to see San Diego State at home. Aztecs are playing tonight against Utah Valley. You can go a week from tonight against Lamar. Viejas Arena, great holiday gift idea. 2 free tickets. Call right now. Caller 7, you are going. 877-767-4760. An amazing giveaway. San Diego State and Lamar at Viejas Arena 1 week from tonight at 7 p.m. Tickets at goaztecs.com. Caller 7, you are going. 877-767-4760. We'll get back to the possibilities of Joe Lacob, the owner of the Warriors, as a potential next owner for the San Diego Padres on the other side. Plus Caleb Davis, general manager of San Diego State football. If you missed our conversation, you'll hear that coming up at 5 p.m. We're here until 6. Aztecs basketball at 7. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update's brought to you by Taco Bell. San Diego State basketball back tonight as they take on Utah Valley, 7 p.m. tip time. Our pregame coverage starts at 6 p.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760. And NBA news of the day, Chris Paul, he announced earlier this year that this was going to be his final NBA season with the Clippers. Well, the Clippers, they released him today. Taco Bell's Lux Cravings box gives you decadent options. $5 gets you fan favorites. 7 gets you the fancy stuff. And 9 sends you on a journey of flavor exploration. Get yours at participating stores for a limited time. Prices and participation may vary. Drinks excludes freezes. Taxes extra.
Getting you all set for that drive home. Let's just start the show. Here's John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 3 of John and Jim. We are here until 6 p.m. And by we, I mean Jim will be here until 6 p.m. I'm going to Viejas Arena in 45 minutes. Here's the thing.
What's the thing, John?
Here's the thing.
What's the thing?
For me to call a game at Viejas Arena, I have to be at Viejas Arena.
Oh.
Now you may say, well, why do you need to leave at 4:45 for a 7 o'clock game?
Why don't you just leave right now?
Honestly, I would, but I would feel bad for you.
I was joking. Don't leave.
I'm out. Peace. So I'm going to leave 4:45. Here's the thing. The last time I did this for a 7 o'clock weeknight game, it took me like 45 minutes to get over there.
Really?
Yeah, there was all this traffic and cars. It's like rush hour.
All this traffic and cars.
So
Still had an hour to spare.
no, but here's the thing. I don't just show up and call the game
Why not?
because that's a disservice to the job. I'd rather have Jim do the show and me be prepared for the game than me do the entire show and race into Viejas Arena and just hop on the air. Plus, I'm like my own engineer for basketball.
Oh, you are?
You didn't know that?
You don't have engineers for basketball?
You're looking at them.
Wow. Look at
You're
you.
looking at
You should get paid double. You should get paid what engineers
Talk
get
to
paid.
Mary.
You talk to Mary. It's your job.
What am I supposed to say? Pay me double?
Yeah. Pay me double or you're in trouble.
All right. I might do that. Probably not. Anyway,
No, you
Aztec Hoops tonight, San Diego State, Utah Valley at 7. Pregame coverage outside with Ben Fletcher beginning at 6 p.m. We started the show today talking about the possibility of Joe Lacob, the current Warriors owner, as the next owner of the San Diego Padres. According to sources in the Bay Area, he may be interested. We said the day that we found out the Padres were exploring a sale, we said, we can't wait for the first report about potential buyers.
Yeah.
Right. We basically waited from then, whenever that was, a few weeks ago. We were at the blood drive, I want to say, at San Diego State, until now. So we waited a few weeks. We get this report. I would imagine, Jim, this won't be the last report. Like, I don't think this is just hook, line, sinker. Joe Lacob's going to buy the team in 10 days. You got a new owner on Christmas Day. I think this is the first of a number of reports. And my guess is this plays out throughout a lot of 2026, if I was guessing.
I don't know if we're going to get reports of like X group has thrown their name in the hat or whatever, because they don't have like a prominent name that
right.
You know, a front facing name like Joe Lacob or Mark Cuban or Steve Ballmer, right? Unless, you know, some crazy rich person is like, whoa, like Stan Kroenke's, you know, potentially wanting to buy the Padres or whatnot. The thing about Joe Lacob, and we talked about this to start the show, it's like, for me, when I look at a sports owner and I see it in our chat and I see it on social media, well, he's not as rich as so-and-so. He doesn't have these deep pockets. The thing that Joe Lacob has that you absolutely want in an owner is his desire to win. All the other stuff will follow. As long as the owner only cares about winning, and that's the number one priority for them, everything else is going to follow. Finding money to sign players, you know, keeping a competitive team on the field, that's all going to, you know, fall into place. But that only happens if the owner of the team has such a desire to win, like Joe Lacob has with the Warriors, like Peter Seidler had when he was in charge of the Padres. Peter wasn't the richest. Peter didn't have these, you know, deep pockets that all Padres fans, thought he had or Padres fans want the next owner to have, right? What did he have? He had the ultimate desire to win and win at all costs. That was all he thought about. Morning, day, and night. How do I figure out and how do I get this team to win a World Series? So when I'm looking at potential buyers for the Padres, the number one thing that I'm looking at, and I think all Padres fans should look at as well, is does the new potential owner of the team want to win at all costs? Because if the answer is no, and if the answer turns into, well, he wants to use this as like a side thing, right? The answer to me then is no thanks. I want the guy that wants to win at all costs. And that's Joe Lacob. I don't think he's the richest. I don't think he has these deep pockets. But you know what he does have? He has connections to a bunch of people with deep pockets. He is the owner of the richest franchise in all of basketball, the Golden State Warriors. They're valued more than the Lakers and the Knicks. And he's taken them from a $400 million team, and now they're a $12 billion franchise. The thing is with Joe Lacob, he wants to win at all costs. And to me, when I'm looking at the potential new owner of the Padres, that's what I want.
Yeah, I agree. By the way, I have zero concern. He's not from San Diego, doesn't live in San Diego. It doesn't concern me. It doesn't. Joe Lacob's not from the Bay Area.
Who cares?
He's lived in the Bay Area, but he's from Massachusetts and had ownership ties to the Boston Celtics. To me, it doesn't concern me. I have no worries about the Padres being moved. I can't live my life like that.
Oh, stop.
I can't worry about, well, there's a world in which, stop. I mean, San Diego is an amazing asset for Major League Baseball. The Padres are wildly successful and popular, and Petco Park is a massive asset for the city and for the sport of Major League Baseball. So I can't concern myself with, well, he's from Cleveland. Well, he's from Oakland. It doesn't matter to me. If it's a San Diegan, amazing. I would prefer, tell me if you agree with this, I'd prefer the out-of-towner that is willing to do more than the local that isn't willing to go the extra mile. Like, do you really want a San Diegan so bad if it's the wrong owner? Who cares? I want the person that is committed, to your point. Well, but can he do this and own the war? Yes, he can. So I want the person that is most committed to winning in San Diego. I don't care if they were born in La Jolla. I don't care if they were born in Mexico City. It doesn't concern me at all. What concerns me is their desires. And if their desires are like Joe Lacob's with the Golden State Warriors, I'm 1,000% on board.
Did Peter Seidler grow up in San Diego?
And no, in fact, he grew up a Dodger fan.
Exactly. So this whole gatekeeping from San Diegans and Padres fans and like, oh, if you didn't grow up here, then you can't talk about sports in San Diego. Or like I had so many people in my mentions last week when I was talking about STFCs, like, you didn't grow up here, Jim. Like, who cares? You know how many people didn't grow up in this town that talk about sports? Little dirty secret. Basically everyone. Like, if you have a favorite host in town, guess what? And it's not us. Odds are they did not grow up in San Diego. So like this whole gatekeeping from San Diegans and Padres fans, like, oh, you didn't grow up in San Diego. You're not qualified to talk about my favorite team. Like, grow up. The world is a place where you can live wherever you want. And the fact that, like, if you're a fan out there that only wants a San Diegan to own the Padres, guess what? Good luck. You're not going to get who you want. It's just,
right.
It's not going to work out well.
Right. Don't you agree? It's like, are you really willing to die on that hill? Isn't that cutting off your nose in spite of your face? You want a bad owner. And by the way, I haven't heard this by and large, but if there is a faction of fans that say, I'd rather have someone with deep ties to the city than someone that doesn't. Well, I would spin that by saying, I'd rather have someone that's dedicated to doing something that nobody's ever done. You know what that is? Win a World Series here. I'm much more concerned about the Padres winning a World Series than some dude that grew up in Encinitas. Like, it's way more impactful to me for the city to win at the highest level than to have someone that was born downtown.
Yeah, nobody cares. No one should care. If you care, you're like a gatekeeping loser. Like, I'm sorry, I just don't know how to put it other than the fact that you're just one of those people that is like nobody from outside San Diego can come to San Diego. Like, no. If someone wants to come in here who wants to win at all costs and wants to take on the task of bringing the Padres their first World Series, that's all that matters.
Dude, all that matters. And by the way, you become a beloved figure. I mean, you just brought up a really interesting point. I haven't done the deep dive on the history of Padres ownership groups, but the most revered figure in local sports history from an ownership perspective is Peter Seidler. The most revered and beloved. Shoot, he could very well have a statue one day at Petco Park. And to your point, he's not born and raised here because it doesn't even matter. It's just not part of the story to me. I mean, do you think any differently of Coach Fisher and Coach Dutcher because they weren't born in San Diego? Do you think differently of, it's not even a part of the conversation to me.
No.
It's just not even a part of the conversation to me. I want one thing, and that's what Peter Seidler wanted. I want to see them do everything. I mean, even beyond what many think is possible. That's what Peter did. How are they doing this? How are they spending like this? How are they top 3 in payroll? That's what I want. Now, I don't know if we're going to get that. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's whomever. We might not ever return to that. It may not happen, but maybe it will. And I'd much prefer someone try it, like a Joe Lacob. Hey, try to keep this team top 5 or 7 in payroll, as opposed to someone come in with San Diego ties, and all of a sudden we're back to like the 1990s Padres or the 2000s Padres with the low payroll and the little engine that could, and against all odds. Screw that. I don't want the against all odds. I actually want to have the odds. I want to be favored to win. I don't want to be the underdog.
Like, you're probably not going to get as an owner of the Padres. You're probably not going to get a diehard Padres fan for their entire life, grew up in San Diego, has deep pockets, is one of the richest people in the world, and wants to win at all costs.
Yeah, like who is that?
Yeah, find me that person. I don't even think they exist.
I mean, obviously Joe Tsai has San Diego ties. He's not born in San Diego.
Yeah, you're just not going to get it. I think people need to move away from that fantasy and start dealing in reality that the thing that matters the most is not where this person was born or if this person was a Padres fan growing up or yada, 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 right? Now, if they were a diehard Dodger fan, but
Right.
Like John Seidler grew up diehard Dodger fan.
Right.
From day one, I was like, I don't really like it.
Yeah.
Especially his first comments to Padres fans was it was hard for him to root for the Padres when they bought the team.
Right.
Like, could you be more of a moron? No, you couldn't. The only thing that matters is, does this person who purchases the Padres want to win at all costs and want to bring San Diego and San Diego fans the team's first World Series championship in franchise history? If the answer is no for that person, then no, thank you.
Yeah, and on to the next.
Exactly.
Completely agree. All right, more of this conversation. Joe Lacob exploring a purchase of the San Diego Padres. Are you on board or not? 877-767-4760. You can also text us 70470. Start it with the word team. Plus, we'll get to the wrap on the other side here until 6 p.m. Aztec basketball at 7. Pregame coverage will begin at 6. And if you missed our conversation with San Diego State's football general manager, Caleb Davis, today is National Early Signing Day. San Diego State signing a class, I think, to this point of 22 players. We'll talk about that class, plus about the retention effort on the Mesa coming off this 9-3 season, getting ready for a bowl game. Caleb Davis, if you missed our conversation, you'll hear that coming up at 5 p.m. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, join San Diego Sports 760 ESET, SeaWorld Cable Pipe and Leak Detection, and Crowley Car Company to support Rady Children's Hospital this holiday season. Tuesday, December 9th and Wednesday, December 10th, you'll hear stories of hope and healing from Rady Children's patients and families during the iHeart Rady Children's Give-a-thon. You can make a donation today by texting SPORTS, the word SPORTS, to 51555. That's SPORTS to 51555, or donate at radyfoundation.org/give-a-thon. That's radyfoundation.org/give-a-thon. John and Jim with you until 6 p.m. Again, if you missed our conversation with Caleb Davis, San Diego State football general manager, you will hear that coming up at 5 p.m. We have hashtag hoops tonight, 6 p.m. pregame coverage with Ben Fletcher. I'll be on the call from Viejas Arena at 7 p.m. for San Diego State and Utah Valley. We're talking about this report out of the Bay Area, the idea of Joe Lacob, the current owner of the Warriors and the WNBA franchise as well in the Bay Area, potentially becoming the next owner of the San Diego Padres. Do you see a world, Jim, where we have a Lucy pulling the football away moment and the Sidlers are like, just kidding, all good,
100%.
we're going to keep it,
100%.
Thanks for checking in.
Yep. And you know why? Is because they don't get what they want. They could go out there and the best offer they get is lower than $2 billion. It happened with the Angels and the Twins recently. Those teams were up for sale, if I'm not mistaken. And the current owners of the team that put them up for sale decided to pull it off the table, right? Yes. Artie Moreno and whoever the owners are of the Twins.
Yeah.
So, this is not a slam dunk, guys, that the Padres are going to sell. Like, they're just putting the team up for sale and looking at potential offers. You know, if someone comes in and the highest bid they get is like $1.6 billion,
right?
That's not good enough. They need something in the low to mid twos, right? Or at least that's what they're valuing their team at, because that's what they fed to Kevin. And Kevin reported what the Padres are valued at, and that's coming directly from the Padres.
I agree. I don't think they sell unless they get the number they want. I think the reason to sell is sheer money.
Yeah.
So if the reason to sell is financial, and of course it is, we're talking about billions of dollars, then why would you sell low? I would think a sale of the Padres would be because you're selling high. A team that's been in the postseason for the better part of the last half decade, a team that consistently draws 3+ million fans. Let's go to the phones here. 877-767-4760 if you want to weigh in on the Padres ownership situation. Joe Lacob, the current Warriors owner, exploring potentially a purchase of the Padres. We'll see, or at least maybe has some interest. 877-767-4760. Let's go to Todd on line one. Todd, you're on with John and Jim.
Hey, guys. Good evening. Hey, I'm born in San Diego. My parents are born in San Diego. I live in Orange County now. I went to state. My entire family's Aztecs. And the only requirement that I have for ownership is this guy or gal has got to have the deepest pockets on the planet. They could have arrived on the planet from somewhere else yesterday. But as long as they have the money to invest in this organization, I don't care where they come from. And once they're in, spend the money wisely, be creative on contracts, hire the best baseball people money can buy, invest in the farm system. And anyone who's a true Padre fan should demand and expect nothing less. I don't care where they're from.
It's well said, Todd. Appreciate the phone call. Again, 877-767-4760. I mean, we agree, right? I mean, that's the preference. If I could snap my fingers, Jim, I want the win. I want the desire to win. But man, if you have real resources, if you've got Steve Cohen pockets, I don't know if it's going to be like that. But if you got those deep pockets, that'll give you a shot.
So I would agree with you, Todd. But like I said, you could have someone in here that is incredibly wealthy.
Right.
Do they want to spend money is the question. Because I'm looking at the richest owners in the sport. Do you know who David Rubenstein is?
No idea.
He owns the Baltimore Orioles. You want to know what his net worth is?
A lot. Because that's the new ownership group, right?
$4.5 billion.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot.
Do you know who the owner of the San Francisco Giants is?
of the I have no idea.
Charles Johnson. His net worth is $5.5 million. You want to know what the net worth is of the owner of the Washington Nationals, Annette Lerner, and their family? $6.7 billion. So those are three franchises that have owners that have deep pockets, would you say?
Yeah, completely.
Do those teams have the desire from their owners to win at all costs?
I mean, the Nationals did.
The Nationals
Yeah,
did.
I mean, Ted Lerner won a World Series.
They did, but then they sold, right?
No, they ended up not. They ended up not selling.
Right.
They didn't sell. I mean, the Giants, I don't know someone tell me the length of the Giants ownership, because the Giants have certainly won.
They have won, but they've not won with like the number one payrolls. They won because they drafted and developed.
That's fair. And what was the other team you referenced there?
The Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah, and they don't spend. I mean, they've been criticized for it. They brought in this new group, and everyone's like, they're going to spend, and they haven't.
Artie Moreno. Now he's spent.
Yeah, he is spent, dude.
He's spent, but he's not spent like wisely.
Wisely, yeah.
Yeah. So I look at whoever they bring in. Yeah, deep pockets for sure. If they have the deepest pockets in all the sport, if they're valued higher than Steve Cohen, that's great. But does that person have that desire to want to spend the money that they have? Because if the answer is like no, and they're just like, you know what, we'll spend a certain amount, right? Then that to me, I'm like, I need somebody in here, and I think Padres fans would need somebody in here that is more towards the Peter Seidler, I want to win at all cost, than the guy that looks at this as like an investment.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. 877-767-4760. Let's go back to the phones if you want to weigh in. 877-767-4760. Felix on line 2. Felix, appreciate you calling in. You're on with John and Jim.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for taking my call. Whoever says that a Padre owner has to be a San Diego native or whatnot. I mean, I'm a season ticket holder for San Diego FC, San Diego State University alumni. The military brought me down here 25 years ago. My dad was from Portugal, born and raised, died a Padre fan. So anybody who says you have to be from here, born and raised, I call BS on that. Now, as far as the spending goes, I'm all for the spending, guys, and I want the spending, especially if we have to compete against deeper pockets, but spend it wisely. And as far as the other thing goes with the new ownership, I really hope they take something like what the Tampa Bay Rays do, as far as they develop, they create this farm system. Mind you, they can't keep their players, but at least they know how to develop and create. I mean, it doesn't do us any good to have the top 5, top 6 farm system if you're not going to do anything with it, or you can't retain your own players. You know what I mean?
Felix, great call. I mean, spot on. It's like, yeah, there's people that spend, half of their lives somewhere. Yeah, I just don't see how it's relevant. We all agree.
It's not.
That. It's not relevant. All right. On the other side, more on the conversation. Again, coming up at 6 p.m. Aztecs pregame, San Diego State and Utah Valley tonight from Viejas Arena. Caleb Davis, San Diego State football general manager. If you missed our conversation, you'll hear it coming up at 5 p.m. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update is brought to you by Taco Bell. San Diego State back in action tonight at Viejas Arena as they take on Utah Valley. 7 p.m. tip time. 6 p.m. is when our pregame coverage starts. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. And NBA news of the day. Chris Paul, he announced earlier this year that he's going to retire at the end of this season. Well, the Clippers said you might have to retire right now as they released the Hall of Fame point guard earlier today. Taco Bell's Lux Cravings box gives you decadent options. $5 gets you fan favorites, $7 gets you the fancy stuff, and $9 sends you on a journey of flavor exploration. Get yours at participating stores for a limited time. Prices and participation may vary. Drinks exclude freezes. Taxes extra.
All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. We do want to congratulate our $5,000 winners. iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher, powered by Donors Choose. There's still time for you to nominate a public school teacher making a difference, and maybe they'll be one of our next winners of $5,000 to make over their classroom. Help us say thank you to the educators shaping our future. Nominate your favorite teacher now at iHeartRadio.com/teachers. Did you see this big signing that just rolled in?
No.
Nick Schnell. That Nick Schnell. Yes, I'm talking about that Nick
This is
Schnell.
what Caleb Davis is referring to?
No, this is a Padre.
Oh, a Padre. I thought you meant San Diego State. Sorry.
Nick Schnell is your newest Padre. They've signed him to a minor league deal. You may recall he had 23 home runs last year in AAA as a Nationals farmhand. 84 RBIs. Here's your new first baseman, Nick Schnell.
Now, my question is, does this move get them to 115 or 116 wins next year?
Probably the latter.
Good question, right?
He's 25. He'll turn 26 opening day or around there, March 27th. He's a 6'1" left-handed bat.
Oh, perfect. He can replace Jake Cronenworth when they trade him.
He might be an outfielder, actually.
Oh, well, never mind.
But he had an 812 OPS last year in AAA Rochester.
Are the Padres building like the AAA super team? Like, because you got
Schnell and Campy.
Snell and Campy. Those guys are going to be starters for this team come opening day next year.
Now, this guy's a former first-round pick, Jim. I don't know if you realize that.
Oh, wow.
2018 first-round pick of the Rays.
Okay.
The issue, and there is an issue.
He sucks.
The issue is he's never appeared in the major leagues. And he was taken in the first round in 2018, and next year is 2026. So I don't know. He's one of these minor league invites, right? They'll have a slew of them to be announced in the weeks ahead. But according to the internet, and you can't believe everything on the internet, but Nick Schnell has been signed to a minor league deal.
Wow.
There's the winter meeting start. Kickoff.
That's like a where were you moment, right?
I love how you thought he was like an Aztec cornerback.
Yeah, I was like, did they sign like the best recruit in California? Like, what's going on?
Like, oh yeah, Nick Schnell. Like I saw him play a quarterback for Cathedral.
Yeah, perfect.
Oh yeah, over at Helix, he had a nice year. And like, no, dude, I'm talking about
he had 12,000 yards rushing.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Nats farmhand, Nick Schnell.
Nick Schnell.
Dude, can someone please bring in an ownership group so we don't have to talk about Nick Schnell all off season?
Seriously.
Because the problem when you're exploring a sale is that oftentimes it goes quiet. You're trying to free up money. You're not trying to spend money. So I'm hoping that's not fully the case. The Padres are in a position where they've won 90 games the last 2 years. Like, this should not be fire sale offseason. It's not going to be a fire sale offseason. I just hope they put themselves in a position where they can do what they've done the last 2 years, which is compete.
Well, I mean, AJ Preller, he's done well the last couple off seasons with not a lot to work with, right?
True. Mm-hmm.
He had to trade away Juan Soto, and that trade worked out really well. And then last offseason, they had to sign like Jason Hayward and Connor Joe and Elias Diaz and Martin Maldonado. Now, again, none of those players worked out, but in the end, they signed Nick Pivetta, and that was probably one of the best signings of the offseason for any team.
Mm-hmm.
So can he do that again? Well, he's probably going to have to. Now, waiting until the day before pitchers and catchers report for him to make a big move, not ideal for us, right? Because you want a lot of action, but it's just where they're at. You potentially could have AJ Preller going into a lame duck season. The owner of the team the Seidler bros are trying to sell the franchise, and you're in a debt hole right now. So like to expect this team to have a flurry of moves this offseason to address all the needs that they have, probably wishful thinking.
But other than all of that,
everything's great. Other than all that,
I mean, the one thing that, again, it's easy to go down this path. I do it all the time. You're like, man, like, look at the rotation. Look at the holes that have to be filled. I mean, there's still a competent core, a core that's capable of, I mean, it's a good core. It is. Like, an unbiasedly speaking, objectively speaking, it is a good core. When you've got Fernando Tatis Jr. and Jackson Merrill and Manny Machado as part of your core, like, you've got something to work with, like real legitimate pieces. Top 5 MVP candidate pieces in theory on your team. Like, that's the good. The good of it is you've got a core. The bad of it is you can't just have a core. I mean, you have to round this thing out. And then potentially the worst of it is like, what is this rotation? I get it. It's December. It's not March. But with everything that we've learned about Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove coming off Tommy John, and yeah, Nick Pivetta was terrific last year, but I mean, you can't have more holes than they have right now or more questions with their rotation. So that's where the concern starts with me. I know they'll address it. And hopefully they address it well, because that to me is the whole story. That is the whole story. What does your rotation look like? Without a good rotation, you're not winning 90 games or anywhere near 90 games, probably.
no, they have to. How many innings do they have to replace? Like what?
A lot with Cease and King.
300?
Yeah, probably.
Because how many did Cease pitch? How many did Cease pitch last year?
Yeah, he threw a good amount. He made 32 starts.
Right.
So,
I know Michael.
Yeah, 168.
168. All right, so you got 168.
King was 100.
King, 100, right?
Yep.
Around there.
73.
Okay, so what's the math there, John?
240.
Okay, and then Darvish gave you what, 50 something?
Yeah, so there's 300.
You have to replace 300 innings in your rotation.
Yep.
And probably more, because King should have pitched around 170 to 180 innings.
Yeah.
And Darvish was hurt half the year.
Right.
So it's not only 300, it's like, what is, it's like 400. It's like 450 innings that you got to figure out. So Johnny Brito, okay. Randy Vasquez is going to give you 150 innings next year. Matt Waldron, is he going to pitch a lot for you? JP Sears, right? Like, what's Joe going to give you? Can Joe give you 150 off of Tommy John? You better hope that Nick Pivetta stays healthy. I mean, the question marks with the rotation, when you talk about it out loud, it gets scary real fast.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. I mean, we've had these conversations before, but this seems more extreme to me in terms of what they need to replace. It's not to say it's not. At the end of the year, they're going to throw the innings, but are they going to throw them competently, so to speak? Like, you had Michael King and Dylan Cease, 2 coveted free agents in your rotation last year. This year, you have neither.
No,
Like, Michael King ship sailed, folks. Like, off the Cease deal, and with other teams showing interest, like, that to me would be shocking. I think I said it last week, like, jaw-dropping shocked if Michael King returned. So I get it. You can do it other ways. We've had the Mason Miller, Adrian Morejon conversation. We've had the system conversation with the guys like JP Sears or whomever else. You can have Randy Vasquez take another step, although he was smoking mirrors last year. So again, they're gonna fill the innings. I promise you that. They'll play all the games. They're not forfeiting. They're not forfeiting any games next year. But are they going to fill them effectively? And it's a division where, forget about LA. You got teams that are trying to win. I think San Francisco clearly is trying to win. I think Arizona is absolutely attempting to win at your same clip. Forget about Colorado, obviously, but you got real challenges. And around the National League, the way some of these teams are spending, like New York, like Philadelphia is capable, like Atlanta is capable. Yeah, they're in an interesting spot. And to me, it's a little bit like a bridge year. Like, hey, get through 2026. Maybe we've got that ownership change for 2027, but I mean, you can't treat 2026 like it's not an important year if you're the Padres organization. It is. Manny's old or getting old.
Every year
Bogarts
every year that Manny Machado's on this roster is an important year.
Yeah. They're not young. He's not young, dude.
Every year that you have Fernando Tatis Jr. on the roster and Jackson Merrill on the roster and Xander Bogaerts on the roster, purely just from his contract alone, it's an important year.
Mhm.
The second you sign Manny Machado, there's no like gap years here. There's like you can't be like, oh, you know what, we'll take a year off here from really going for it, and then we're gonna gear up for the next season. Like that's not what you do when you have Manny Machado on your roster at that price point.
Completely. No, I completely agree. So yeah, there's no, and also you don't do it. There's so many reasons you don't even consider it. I mean, you just drew 3.4 million fans. Like there's no, hey, let's just hang around. No, no, no. Like you're fully in, man. Your payroll shows it. Your fan base shows it. You're on the market. I mean, there's nothing that's acceptable beyond being a playoff team, right? And even that, I mean, it's not the dream scenario isn't make the postseason and lose the wild card again. Like there's going to be a lot of disappointed people if they make they make the postseason and lose the wild card. And then at some point, maybe AJ Preller's job does become more in jeopardy because yeah, they're winning, but they're not winning at the clip that they need to win at. At some point, you need to take a next step, and we'll see if that happens in 2026 or not. All right, I can tell that Jim's got you covered for the next hour 15. I'm making my way to Viejas Arena. Caleb Davis, general manager of the Aztecs football team. If you missed our conversation, you'll hear that coming up at 5 p.m. And then Ben Fletcher has pregame coverage from outside Viejas, so you can swing by and say hello. Ben's got pregame coverage for the Aztecs and Utah Valley coming up at 6 p.m. I'll be on the call at 7 p.m. from inside Viejas Arena. John and Jim continues until 6 p.m.
Or just Jim.
Just Jim. He's got all kinds of plans for you over the next hour 15 on San Diego Sports 760 and on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, back here on John and Jim. John is bailed. Very soft. Called basketball game. Dude, it's 4:48 or 4:46. The game starts at 7. What's he going to do? I know what John's going to do. He's going to go there. He's going to get some food potentially. He's going to talk to some people. He's going to sit around. Isn't Vejas like literally 5 miles away? It's okay. I'll give it to him. He's got a lot on his plate. So John's on his way to San Diego State as San Diego State gets ready for Utah Valley tonight, 7 p.m. tipped off, 6 p.m. pregame. If you missed our conversation with Aztec GM Caleb Davis earlier in the show, we're going to bring that back for you next hour, so stay tuned for that. Also, my back page for you at 5:45. So just sticking on the conversation about Joe Lacob and the Padres' new potential owner. You know, when you look at this situation and you look at Joe Lacob and we look at a rumor that says, yeah, maybe I could be interested in doing it. How much validity is this rumor? Like, how real is this? Could be smoke, could be something, could be nothing. But at least we have a name out there, a pretty prominent name, potentially interested in the Padres. I think that is a good thing. The last thing you want is like to hear nothing, right? We want to hear names that are out there that potentially want to buy the Padres. We want, if you're a Padres fan, you want the Padres to be this hot commodity. You want everybody to be jumping in to try to own the Padres. You know, the Angels, there's crickets. No one bought the Angels, and Artie Moreno still owns the team. Whoever owns the Minnesota Twins, they put the team up for sale. And look what happened. Nothing. So it's not a foregone conclusion that, you know, the Padres are going to even sell. But if you have guys like Joe Lacob and other very wealthy, you know, people that are involved in sports throw their name in the hat, then potentially that could drive up the price, and that could be a potential bidding war. And that's kind of what you want here. You don't want it to be dead silent and like wondering to yourself, if you're a Padres fan, is anybody going to buy the Padres? Because yes, John Seidler and the Seidler Bros put this team up for sale, but it's not officially going to be sold. It's just, hey, we're going to see what we could get for this team. And they put a number on it. And if they don't get that number, then John Seidler is going to remain the owner of the Padres. And the Seidler Bros are going to be a big part of the Padres going forward, potentially. And I don't think that's the best thing for this franchise, to be honest with you. Like, the last thing I think Padres fans want is John Seidler, who, I mean, let's face it, he doesn't know what he's doing. All right, he has no clue what he's doing. He never wanted this job. I mean, if you told me right now he's still secretly a Dodger fan, I would believe you. I have no idea even who John Seidler is as a person. He never speaks to the media. He never speaks to the fans. The only time he spoke to the fan base is on a 2-minute interview with Don and Mud during the middle of a game. And even that was a disaster. So the worst thing is they don't sell. And John, who, like I said, doesn't even want this, ends up remaining the owner of this team for the foreseeable future. You don't want that. You don't want the Seidler Bros involved. We don't even know the resolution, and maybe we won't know for a long time about the lawsuit with Shield against the Seidler Bros. Like, is Shield going to be involved here? Could Shield be a part of a new ownership group? Like, there's a lot of questions, and it's not a foregone conclusion. that John's going to even sell the team. I think a lot of people think this is going to 100% happen. And I'm here to tell you, it's not 100%. The Padres selling is not 100%. I think it's greater than 50% that they sell. But even then, there's a chance that they don't get what they're looking for. Nobody comes in with deep pockets and gives the Sider Bros what they want. And then John and his brothers have to stick their tail between their legs and come back to this fan base and say, just kidding. We actually really want to own this team now. Or they'll give you some BS answer about how, it just didn't feel right to sell. And, the future of this team is about Peter's legacy. And we're going to try to win a World Series and blah, 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 blah. Using their brother's name to try to win over the fans. When, I'm sorry, everybody sees right through you. All they did when, Peter passed away is use his name in order to get the fans on their side. Oh, we're going to do this for Peter. We're going to do, you know what Peter would want? You to go out and spend money and go sign some players and give AJ Preller a contract extension. Right? Make sure that your manager doesn't quit. That's what Peter would want. If Peter was still alive today, maybe Bob Melvin would be the manager of the team in 2023. Because in 2024, excuse me. Because if you guys remember, one of Peter's last wishes was for Bob and for AJ to stay with the team in 2024. He passed away. They allowed Melvin to go interview with the Giants. They hired Mike Schilt. Obviously, we know the rest after that. So when you look at the dynamic of the Padres going forward and the potential sale, you want these rumors of guys like Joe Lacob and whoever else that are in the sports world that have been successful throwing their name in the hat and being interested in buying the Padres. Because then the price drives up. The Sider Bros get what they want. They sell the team for $2.4 billion. You get someone in here that actually wants to win. That's what you want. You don't want it to be dead quiet. It's like putting a house up for sale and you have a couple open houses. Everyone's like, oh, this is nice. And you get no offers. Then the house is on the market for months. And then you probably have to sell for lower than what you're looking for. Now, I don't think the Padres would do that. I don't think they would sell for lower than what they're looking for. But you get the point. You want this house to have a lot of suitors. And all it takes is one person to be very interested, to get the ball rolling, to get a sale underway. And hopefully that's Joe Lacob. Maybe it is Joe Lacob. Maybe it's not. But, at least these reports today and going back to this report from the San Francisco Chronicle here, Joe Lacob might be something that he could potentially explore. It's not like the biggest endorsement for him to be the new owner of the Padres, right? You'd want something more concrete, like he would love to own a Major League Baseball team. And of course, the Padres are some team that he's monitoring very closely. Might be something he could potentially explore. Not like the biggest endorsement of, oh, absolutely Joe Lacob's going to buy the Padres. I see one of the first comments down here on this article says, God, no, he's only worth $2.1 billion. The Padres are worth 2.5. Are they? We need someone with the pockets that can match the Dodgers. Yeah, I'm sorry. That doesn't really match up because Peter wasn't worth that. and the Padres might not even be worth $2.5 billion. And Joe Lacob is a smart businessman. He works in the Bay Area, obviously owning the Valkyrie and the Warriors. He has connections. He can find the money. And he has the money too, by the way. All right, coming up next. If you missed our conversation earlier in the day with Aztec GM Caleb Davis, you're going to hear that coming up here shortly. Also, is Giannis done with the Bucks? Is this officially it for Giannis and the Bucks? Aztecs in a must-win game tonight against Utah Valley. We'll get all to that next hour right here on John and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, this update's brought to you by Taco Bell. San Diego State back at it tonight at Viejas Arena against Utah Valley. 7 p.m. tip time. Our pregame coverage starts at 6 p.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760. And NBA news of the day, the Clippers released Chris Paul. Chris Paul earlier this year announced this was going to be his final NBA season, so his career might be over. Taco Bell's Lux Cravings box gives you decadent options. $5 gets you fan favorites. $7 gets you the fancy stuff. And $9 sends you to a journey with flavor exploration. Get yours at participating stores for a limited time. Prices and participations may vary. Drink excludes freezes. Taxes extra.
Getting you all set for that drive home. Let's just start the show. Here's John and Jim.
All right, final hour of John and Jim on a Wednesday. John is soft. I heard he hasn't even left yet he left the show 15 minutes ago. Good job there, buddy. He's on his way to Viejas Arena. 7 p.m. tip time, Aztecs, Utah Valley, in what some might say is a must-win game tonight. They cannot lose. If they lose tonight, here's the deal. You're going to have to win the conference championship. Conference championship tournament, by the way, to get an automatic bid. You cannot lose tonight. You have lost all of your wiggle room for your season. That loss to Troy, that one really hurt. And you didn't have a particularly good showing in the NIL tournament in Las Vegas. Really good win against Oregon. Oregon's net ranking is in the 190s. You got blown out by Baylor, even though it was a close game throughout. Got away from them there in the second half. And you got curb stomped by Michigan, even though Michigan curb stomped literally everybody. So you got to win tonight. Like, you got to beat Utah Valley. You just have to. And I hope they have a good showing, and I expect them to do. They've had 7 days off. They're rested. They're ready to go. And the last time they're at Viejas Arena, they lost to Troy. So hopefully tonight is a better outcome than the last time they were at Viejas Arena. And hopefully they can play much, much better tonight against Utah Valley. All right. Aztec GM Caleb Davis, he joined us earlier in the show today. We started off our conversation with Caleb with what was his thoughts and goals going into this class, and did he accomplish them?
Yeah, absolutely. So first off, thanks for having me on, guys. Always a pleasure, always a joy. I think the number one thing for us was, how can we win the city of San Diego County, and also just the rest of the state with Southern California. I mean, we've got the best football in the country right here. Don't have to go too far for it. So I'm really proud of just how many kids we were able to keep home, keep in the state, and really, really prioritize that.
So we were talking about him last segment here. Brady Campbell, 3-star quarterback. Yeah. What can you tell us about him, and what could Aztecs fans expect to see from Brady?
Absolutely. Great late get to our class. We were able to I know there were a couple surprises today. Wink, wink, might be one more to come here in a little bit, but no. So over the last week, we were able to finish strong with this class. And Brady was one of those, and he's a big frame developmental prospect. So look forward to adding him to the program.
All right, Caleb Davis is with us right now. I don't even know if you can. I'm kind of doing this on the fly. I just saw that Cam Purnell out of Lincoln just tweeted that he is now a San Diego State commit. Have you guys? Yeah, now it's official from San Diego State football. That Cam Purnell has signed. He's out of Lincoln High School. You mentioned the importance of San Diego County, Southern California. I don't know if you can speak on Cam specifically, but even if you can you go further in the conversation? I think this year there were maybe 18 San Diegans on the roster, including like the entirety of the running back room. What does it mean to Sean, yourself, and the staff to keep players within, 30, 60, 100 miles here in San Diego?
Oh, that's the heart and soul of this program. Keeping some of these local kids home. It really starts with the guys on the roster. A Trey White, a Tano Latuli. All these kids that are from here that just keep on putting on for the city. So I did get the email about 30 minutes ago. I can officially talk about Cam.
Okay.
So I'm fired up. We had him out on a visit in the summer, and he had a long, drawn out process of, do I want to go out and explore new things? But man, he's a true hometown hero, local legend, whatever you want to call it. We're fired up to add him and to be able to keep some of the best football players in the city home. There's nothing better than that, man.
So earlier today, Sean Lewis saying this is the highest rated class for San Diego State. Do you take anything from that, or do you say like, oh, that's awesome, we want to get the highest rated class, or is it more about the players than getting high rankings as far as your class goes?
I'll say this: perception is reality. Mm-hmm. So for us, to be honest, do I value this kid's ranked higher than this kid? No, not at all. But what it does do is it helps us build momentum towards the future classes. And as you can continue to stack classes on classes on classes, keeping a kid like Cam home and continuing to develop, the floor of your roster, it just helps in the future. So is it important to winning football games? Probably not, but is it important to continuing momentum and developing, the best Southern California rock, developing all of that? Like, yes, that matters. That's important. And I think it's important to the future high school kids that are keeping San Diego State on their radar.
I want to ask you about another San Diegan. Again, Caleb Davis is with us, San Diego State's general manager. We also want to get into like retention. You think about this past year, one of the keys for the Aztecs was retaining all these pieces, and San Diego State goes from 3-9 to 9-3. But another local player, Carson Deal, wide receiver out of La Jolla High. They've had such a good football program here in San Diego. What can you say about Carson and some of his skill set and what he's going to bring to this roster moving forward?
Man, Carson might have the best recruiting story out of anyone, because he's a kid who over the last couple of years, did he get an offer? Is he okay? Like, what's going on? Well, he came back and he had a 7-on-7 camp with his team over the summer. And you talk about a kid that just worked his tail off. Like, whenever a big play needed to be happen, like, it didn't matter if he's playing safety or receiver, needs the game-winning touchdown. Like, he made about 4 or 5 game-winning plays in those 6 games that it was like, we'd be idiots not to keep this kid home. And he's from right here. Like, it was so cool to see it all culminate, all come together, and see his recruiting process eventually end with the Aztecs.
I know we're looking ahead, but just to look back real quick, a little bit of a disappointing end to the season, losing in double overtime, not getting selected to play in the Mountain West Conference title game. But what can you say about, this year's team improving off of 3 wins last year, getting to 9 wins this year with a chance to win 10 in the bowl game when you guys find out this upcoming weekend? What can you say about, this regular season so far for this group of kids?
What gets me really fired up is the fact that this season is the standard. This is the start of the Sean Lewis era. And to be able to put together a year like we had, year 2, and continue with one more opportunity to finish with double-digit wins, like, this is the standard. This is the starting point. This is the floor. And I'm excited for how much further we can go. I think that double overtime loss, obviously that hurts, that we had the vision of a championship all year long, and right, wrong, or indifferent, we weren't able to grasp it. But what I think it does do is it teaches these kids life lessons that you can't learn any other way than football. So to be able to start off with a season like this and know that this is the floor and this is what, San Diegans across the city can expect year to year, I'm just so much more fired up about what else is to come and what the future looks like.
It's really well said. Caleb Davis with us right now on John and Jim, San Diego State's football general manager. So, Caleb, as you know, you think about some of these players retained this past year. Not just some of the best players in the conference. Some of the best football players in the country. When you think about the Trey Whites and the Chris Johnsons and the Tano Latulis and the Jordan Napiers and your center in Ross. So many pieces were retained, and we all saw the benefits on field. So now coming off the 9-win season, how much more challenging will it be to keep your key pieces in place moving into 2026?
Absolutely. I think the national spotlight has kind of shined on San Diego State athletics a little bit. And, it's a great challenge, but we've got a great group of kids that want to be here, that understand that the grass ain't always greener. And I think it is a great opportunity for the city to come together. We're still still rolling with the Finish the Climb campaign, where we've got an anonymous donor willing to match up to $1 million gifts that the community can rally together and help fundraise. I know we're well on our way there. You can go to aztecs.com/finish the climb. Like I'm really, really excited about what this is going to help us do to retain the roster. And I've had a lot of great conversations. These kids, they want to be here. They want to finish what we started. They want to develop San Diego State athletics into being not just a conference championship contending program, but a college football playoff contending program. And I think it's something that we took a giant leap this year, but we got to keep on climbing and keep on raising the standards every single day.
So you guys will find out where you'll be playing this upcoming weekend, what bowl you'll guys be in. Do you have a preference? We were talking about this last segment. Like if you were to choose like the best network, or maybe like a P4 school, or the best possible bowl, like is there a preference for you that you want to see this upcoming weekend when you guys get selected for where you're going bowling?
My only preference is that we play the toughest, most talented, and most hungry team, because I'm really, really excited for these guys to go out with a bang, and I want them to go out with some great, whether it's Power 4 competition, whatever it is. Like, I want these guys to go out with a bang. And I'll be honest, I haven't looked at what the projections might be or who we might play, but I know we got a great group of kids that want to finish it off the right way.
Caleb, we appreciate you taking time for us. Again, an exciting day on the Mesa, the 2026 football class, by and large in the books, although maybe not fully completed. And then, of course, the portal's going to open. Let's just, I guess I'll end on that, because we're just a couple of weeks away from the portal opening. You're the general manager.
I'm sure you're ready for that, right?
Yeah, what does that even mean? I mean, what is that like when this portal opens? We know what it means internally, because players on this roster are able to enter the portal, but externally, as you look at players to fill holes for 2026, what does it look like in your world as you get ready for a transfer portal to open?
Well, I'll be honest, that process has probably started 2 months ago, because if you're not prepared for it, if you're not looking at every single possible outcome that could come up, then you're already 2 steps behind. So we're watching potential portal prospects, who could go in, who are some local Southern California kids that maybe got recruited out of state but might want to come back home. Like, that's all being done 2 months in advance, and you got to be ready for every possibility, every scenario, and be ready to just jump on it. So we'll be having visits as soon as January 2nd opens, and it'll be about a 2-week mad dash, mad rush until we put together the most competitive roster San Diego State can.
Really nothing like it, I would say, in sports. Just the idea that in professional sports, every single athlete would be a free agent every single year. That is truly unique, and that's basically where we are right now in college athletics. Again, it benefited San Diego State this past year when you look at the results on field, and we're looking forward to 2026 and beyond. But Caleb, congratulations on today. Looking forward to the bowl game, the upcoming transfer portal in January as well. And thanks as always for joining us.
Awesome. Appreciate you for having me.
All right, there was Caleb Davis, excuse me. Nice, Caleb Williams. Caleb Davis, San Diego State's GM, joining us earlier in the show. All right, coming up next, is Giannis on the move? He might be. Could be. We'll discuss that coming up next right here on John and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, back here on John and Jim. Aztec pregame starts at 6 p.m. at Viejas Arena. 7 p.m. tip time as San Diego State takes on Utah Valley. So I feel like I have to talk about this story because we have a daily, not a daily, but a weekly segment on the show where I give you the crumble cookies of the week. Now, I didn't give you the crumble cookies of the week on Monday. This week, little hectic for me, so I'm going to have to bring that back today to give you what the crumble cookies of the week are. But because of that, I saw this story and I was like, wait, this is so peak college football. So we all know, and if you don't know, Jimmy Sexton, he is a super agent. Basically, he runs the SEC. I think he's the agent for, 10 plus coaches in the SEC and a couple coaches in the Big Ten. And he runs college football. He decides the chess pieces. He decides where coaches go. And if a university, doesn't want to coach, he can make life hell for that university. So James Franklin was fired this past year by Penn State. Who's his agent? Jimmy Sexton. Who's one of the last P4 teams without a head coach? It's Penn State. The BYU head coach was about to become the new Penn State coach, and last minute didn't happen. And, everyone's like, oh man, Jimmy Sexton, he is definitely running things. Well, if you didn't know, the CEO of Crumble Cookie apparently is a huge Penn State, booster, and he's a Penn State guy. So James Franklin, who was fired by Penn State in October, right? He's now the Virginia Tech head coach. And the CEO of Crumble Cookie tweeted this out yesterday because he's in with Penn State. Some people are not replaceable. Sounds like it's time for me to get off the sidelines and get to work. I was like, what? And today, at Virginia Tech signing day ceremony, guess what was at the Virginia Tech signing day ceremony? None other than Crumble Cookies. So basically, what the story boils down to is the CEO of Crumble was pissed off that Penn State fired James Franklin. Jimmy Sexton's upset that Penn State fired James Franklin. So Jimmy Sexton's making it really hard for Penn State to hire anybody. And the CEO of Crumble, who's a Penn State guy and James Franklin guy, tweeted that out yesterday and is making it difficult for Penn State to hire a new head coach. This whole thing is just peak college football. And now Penn State has to go on like option B, C, D, whatever. And it's just no other sport can give you this type of insanity. Like the pettiness and the way that Jimmy Sexton just controls college football and who goes where. And the fact that this was a complete shock that James Franklin got fired. Well, here's the thing, Penn State. You better have had a plan on the other side after you fired James Franklin, because apparently you didn't, and now you're SOL. And Jimmy Sexton is making it incredibly hard for you to hire a new head coach. And the Crumble Cookie CEO has stepped in, and he's pissed off, and he's supporting now James Franklin at Virginia Tech. So the whole thing is crazy. Like, Pat Kraft, the AD for Penn State. Like, man, you fire James Franklin knowing who his agent is, knowing you're going to burn some bridges, knowing you're going to piss some people off. You better have a plan in place, and it doesn't look like any of their plans are going to fall through. I mean, they're all going to fall through. Nothing's going to happen. Tell you what, man, college football, it is a different beast. I mean, the whole Lane Kiffin thing with Ole Miss, that was drama in itself. Now you got this whole Penn State thing with Crumble Cookie and Jimmy Sexton and James Franklin. Like, it seems like the CEO of Crumble Cookie helped keep the BYU head coach away from Penn State. Like, think about that. Like, think about that headline. Crumble Cookie CEO helps keep away BYU head coach from signing and being the new head coach at Penn State. And then behind the scenes, you got Jimmy Sexton saying, nope, not happening. College football. Crazy. All right, coming up next. Is Giannis on the move? There's already some mock trades that are being thrown out there that are absolutely ridiculous. We're going to talk about that. Also, Joe Lacob, has he thrown his hat in the ring to potentially purchase the Padres and become the new owner of the San Diego Padres? We'll talk about that. Also, my back page. Aztec pregame starts at 6 p.m. Stay right here on John and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, this update's brought to you by Taco Bell. We'll start with the Aztecs. They're back tonight at Viejas Arena as they take on Utah Valley. 7 p.m. tip time. 6 p.m. is when our pregame coverage starts. And NBA news of the day, the Clippers released future Hall of Famer Chris Paul. Chris Paul already announced this was going to be his final NBA season, and he was released today by the Clippers. Taco Bell's Lux Cravings Box gives you decadent options. $5 gets you fan favorites. $7 gets you the fancy stuff, and $9 sends you on a journey of flavor exploration. Get yours at participating stores for a limited time. Prices and participation may vary. Drinks exclude freezes. Taxes extra. All right, back here on John and Jim. Aztec pregame, about 30 minutes from now at Viejas Arena. Fletch has got the pregame show for you up until tip-off at 7 p.m. So before the season started in the NBA returns to NBC. Massive ratings. One of the biggest gets for NBC was Michael Jordan. They were going to have him as like what was it called, Brent? Do you remember what it was called? Like a legacy commentator? I forget the actual terminology for what Jordan's role was going to be. But he was going to be involved with the NBC or the NBA on NBC. And what it looks like is Mike Tirico and the crew went to Jordan's house or wherever Jordan was at, filmed this like 3-hour interview. They're going to chop it up and play bits and pieces of it throughout the NBA season on NBC on Tuesday nights. Because last night, Jordan had this halftime thing with Mike Tirico once again, and it kind of looked like it was the same interview. Like, I am I wrong? Is it the same or is it different? Kind of looks like it was the same. Did they really just film a 3-hour sit down and then they're just going to chop it up into like little segments throughout the entirety of the season? Like, don't get me wrong. Love MJ. I could listen to him talk for hours. I want him talking about the current NBA players in real time. Don't you? Don't you want Michael Jordan to break down an NBA game that's actually just happened? Like a big time NBA game? I want unfiltered Michael Jordan. Like the other night, he's talking about his love for the game or love of the game clause in his contract when he was playing. Like, that's cool for a documentary. I want Michael Jordan at halftime breaking down Pat Spencer against the OKC Thunder. Like, I don't know. Do you want Michael Jordan to be doing this, or do you want Michael Jordan in real time? Like, do you want him doing a sit down pre-recorded interview that's chopped up and played out through the rest of the season, or Michael Jordan giving you real time commentary? Now, again, is Michael Jordan going to be staying up at 2 a.m. Eastern on a Tuesday night in December to talk about the Warriors and the Thunder? No.
He doesn't have to do it live, but you could at least, do a new one every couple of weeks, so it stays updated. What are they going to do if, Giannis gets traded and then one of the, segments is all about, where will Giannis go? And it's going to be outdated. So you'd think that they would at least split it up into like segments and just record the interview over time in case something happens.
Like, 100%. I want Jordan talking about today's players almost in real time. Like, can we get Michael Jordan's thoughts on the Luka Doncic trade to the Lakers last year? Can we get his thoughts on the Thunder and their quest to potentially, not only break their 72 win record, but break the Warriors 73 win record? Can we get his thoughts on Giannis, like you said, Brent? Can we get his thoughts on, I don't know, whatever. But also, don't get me wrong, I'll eat up anything Michael Jordan. Like, oh, Michael Jordan's talking about parts of his contract back in the day, his love of the game clause in his contract. Sure, sign me up. Like, I'm in 100%. Speaking of Giannis, looks like he wants out. Now, it's not like officially official that he has requested a trade, but there's smoke, and where there's smoke, there's usually fire. So, Brent, you're a big Bucks fan.
Yes.
Like, you give me the craziest mock trade you've already seen involving Giannis.
I just saw one. FanDuel posted it on Facebook like a half hour ago, and it was one of those, who says no to this? Every Bucks fan is going to say no to this. Their proposed trade was Giannis and Kyle Kuzma will go to the Knicks, and then the Bucks would receive Cat, OG, Abana, I can never say his last name, OG, and then
Anunoby,
and then 1 first round pick. Only 1 first round pick. No way.
Yeah, not happening. Selfishly as a Warriors fan, I need this to I need this to drag out until at least January 15th. You know why? Because that's the date that the Warriors officially can trade Jonathan Kuminga.
Yeah, we don't want him though.
I don't blame you. If somehow that were to happen and Jonathan Kuminga was like the centerpiece of a trade for Giannis, I would say thank you. The Warriors absolutely fleeced the Bucks.
That's why I almost lean like they would trade him to San Antonio opposed to the Knicks. And I know Wemby's hurt and everything, but you have to remember the Bucks don't just want to give him away. They want to, try and get something back for them. And I think that for him, and I think San Antonio has more to offer, not just in terms of picks, but, just, young players that they have. Cat gets hurt all the time. And, I would want at least 2 number 1 picks from the team, not just 1. So I don't know. The Bucks are that's why I don't think he'll go to the Warriors, because the Warriors don't have enough to offer. Because if anything, it's going to be kind of like what the Lakers, they thought was going to be a couple years ago when it was like, oh, the only person they have to get rid of is AR. And, no, but they weren't going to get rid of him because otherwise then they had nobody besides LeBron, pre-Luka. So I don't know. I want them to trade him to San Antonio, but it's kind of looking like maybe the Knicks, because Giannis and his agent met with the Bucks like almost all day to talk about options.
Here's a team for you. Hear me out. We haven't mentioned them yet, but they absolutely have the resources. They have everything that I think the Bucks would want, and it would piss off the entire league if they did it. The Oklahoma City Thunder.
No, that would work because the league's already in a panic. I read an article last night that some of those picks that OKC has, they could potentially have like 2 like top 10 draft picks in this year's draft again to add on to their team. And the league is freaking out because, they're already worried about how they're going to beat them this year, and then they're just going to add to it. So I wouldn't be opposed to that because they have young players that they could give up, and they have tons of draft capital to give up. So I wouldn't be opposed to that. But yeah, like you said, well, I don't know. I don't think they'd throw any bigger of fit than they did when KD went to the Warriors.
KD to the Warriors, that's never going to happen again. Like that type of deal. And the only reason why it happened, if you remember, Steph Curry was on not a rookie deal, but he was on I think it was like a 4-year, $44 million deal. And the only way that KD to the Warriors was possible was because Steph was on this deal. It's different now with the CBT, what is it, the CBT or whatever it is in basketball. Like, it's different now. But like, if you're the Thunder, you have all these resources, right? You have 2 top 10 picks in next year's draft potentially. You have all these young players, all this young talent that are not, getting paid just yet. If I'm the Bucks, I'm asking for Chet, I'm asking for Jalen, and I'm asking for at least one of your top 10 picks that they have right now. Maybe both of them. If you're the Bucks, how do you not do that?
Yeah, I think they would do that in a heartbeat.
That makes so much sense. Now, from the OKC Thunder side, it's like, do you want to break up a team that's 21-1?
No,
right?
You don't mess with that.
Yeah, you don't mess with it. But if you paired Shea with Giannis, I mean, come on.
About the only way I could see OKC like doing it and not wanting to rock the boat is if they can do it without having to give up too many players. If they can just do it by giving up, the two number ones and maybe Chet or like one of the stronger like bench pieces or something like that, then I think they would do it. I don't think they would want to give away any of their core guys, especially coming off a year where they won the championship and they're 21 and won already. So
yeah, it would rock the NBA world if Giannis goes to the defending NBA champions. They're 21-1, and Shea is on his way to potentially winning another MVP.
Oh God, you would really hate them then. They'd shoot more free throws than anybody.
My gosh, I was watching the Warriors Thunder game last night, and Shea shot like 12 free throws in the game, and the Warriors as a team shot like 11. I was like, oh, what the hell,
dude?
Man?
Giannis shoots that in like one quarter.
Yeah, I mean the way that Shea just goes to try to find contact to get to the free throw line, it's disgusting. Now, I think he's improved his game to the point where he doesn't need to do that to score. Like, he doesn't need to go just, play the worst brand of basketball known to man, which is, flopping and trying to find contact, right? Like, he can score now without doing that crap. And he's taken his game to another level. He has. But that's who Shea is. Shea is a flopper. He is a guy that creates contact, and now that he's the MVP, if you breathe on Shea wrong, he's going to the free throw line.
I don't have a problem with them creating contact as long as it's not like James Harden's thing where you're standing out at half court and
you hook the guy's arm.
Well, and you do like 8 pump fakes to get him up in the air, and then like the guy jumps up, but he's not even close to you, and then you like jump into him. Yeah. That type of stuff I don't like. If he's just driving to the basket and he gets contact, then I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, coming up next, my back page. We'll wrap up the show, get you ready for Aztec pregame at 6 p.m. Stay with us right here on John and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, final stop here on John and Jim. Aztec pregame coming up at the top of the hour. Aztec basketball at 7 p.m. as they take on Utah Valley. Must-win game, guys. Absolute must-win. All right, Brent, let's get to it. All right, so this was awful of me. I did not give the crumble cookies of the week on Monday. That's completely on me. That's my bad. So I better give them to you now because there's only 3 days left for these crumble cookies in the week, and they're good. So the crumble cookies of the week until December 6th are as such. It's the holiday menu because, it's after Thanksgiving, and now we are into Christmas. The holiday tree cake, which is a new one, looks fantastic. A sticky toffee pudding, a snickerdoodle sandwich cookie, a sea salt toffee skillet cookie, a brownie batter cookie, a raspberry cheesecake cookie, and then the classic milk chocolate chip cookie.
I could go for some toffee pudding.
Dude, toffee pudding. I went to a restaurant. I went to where is it? It's next to the Smoking Goat in North Park. Oh man, I forget what it's called. I'm drawing a blank, but it was really good. And they had some sticky toffee pudding there. Oh, highly recommended. It was like sticky toffee pudding with vanilla ice cream and then like candied walnuts or I think it was candied toffee. Man, so good. It's right next to Smoking Goat and taco stand. You know what I'm talking about. So there's the crumble cookies of the week. Moving on here. So IHOP, Brent, is bringing back their Kids Eat Free deal until December 21st. IHOP is bringing back its popular Kids Eat Free promotion just in time for the holiday season, running through December 1st through December 21st at participating locations. Families with children under 12 can enjoy a free kids entree with the purchase of an adult entree, available daily from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. for dine-in only. The deal includes items from IHOP's regular kids menu, such as pancakes, chicken strips, cheeseburgers, and grilled cheese, offering a budget-friendly way for families to enjoy a meal out during one of the busiest times of the year. How do I pose as a 12-year-old boy, Brent?
I don't know.
Hard to do that.
That's one of those things. That's why I kind of chuckled and like, oh, it's only for dine-in only. It's like, oh, so I can't just go and like borrow Jones for 5 minutes so I can go get a free entree at IHOP and then just give him back.
Yeah, you got to read the fine print for all these like deals. It's usually all for dine-in only. You can't get like takeout because that's too easy. He's like, oh, I have a kid.
He's in the car.
Food. Yeah, he's in the car. Can I get 2 cheeseburgers, please, for free? So not only are sports cards going through the roof, so are comic book character cards, Brent. So a Batman rookie card, a 1966 Topps Batman #1 rookie card. I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't even know Batman had a rookie card back in 1966. But apparently he did. A PSA 9 Topps Batman #1 graded rookie card. No PSA 10s exist, by the way. So this is the highest graded card. Sold in an auction for $78,000. Actually, it's not even sold yet. The bidding is still going on, and it's reached $78,000. Okay. Cards are going through the roof.
Dude, there's a PSA 7 of the same card on eBay right now.
Yeah.
$249.99.
Wait, $249,000?
Yes.
Stop it.
For a PSA 7.
So this is on eBay. They just put that out there. No one's going to bid on that. No one's going to buy that. But that's what they're trying to sell it for is $299,000.
Yes.
Well, the bidding for this at an auction, an actual heritage auction, is over $78,000. That is crazy. And finally,
I'm also seeing there, like when Batman 89 came out, they had like trading cards that came out for it, and I had like a whole bunch of them because like me, like the rest of the country, we were like obsessed with Batman in 89. They have some of these
Batman.
Some of these we're going for like $900 now on eBay, and it's just like, I remember I used to have that card, and then I crumpled it up and threw it away.
All the things that I wish I kept as a kid, I would be rich right now.
Oh yeah, like
it's ridiculous.
You go walk through like retro toy stores and stuff, and you're like, oh god, I had that, that. And then you see the price tags they have for some of that stuff. It's like, oh god.
Like I wish that back in the day, I purchased one of those Boba Fett figures. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, the one with the felt cape.
Yep. I wish I purchased one of those, and then I'd be a millionaire right now. And finally, Taco Bell is testing out a new Mexican pizza empanada. What? Taco Bell is giving fans of its iconic Mexican pizza a brand new way to enjoy the beloved flavors with the launch of its latest test item, the Mexican pizza empanada. It's currently being tested exclusively in select locations in Phoenix, Arizona. The new empanadas reimagine the cult favorite menu item into a portable, snackable format. Each empanada is filled with Taco Bell's classic seasoned beef and melted 3 cheese blend wrapped in a crispy fried pastry shell. Customers also receive a side of the signature Mexican pizza sauce for dipping. Okay.
I want to see what it looks like, though.
It's just like an empanada. Early test reports that the empanadas are available in both 3-pack and 6-pack options. If the testing goes well, it could be available nationwide next year. Sign me up for that.
I got to see what it looks like.
And finally, I know I said finally, but here's another finally. This is from James. He sent me this as a back page item. So WrestleMania 42 is in Las Vegas this year once again. Why? Because of money. And if you want to buy this Elite Experience package, Brent, which is a 2-day premium row floor seat, on-stage in-ring photo op, superstar walkout, reserve section at Friday night kickoff party, and a 5-day VIP WWE world ticket with priority pass, fast lane access. Guess how much all that is?
$25,000.
$37,000.
And it's probably going to go up because they got that pricing scale thing now.
Absolutely. Fans can now create their own entrance in WrestleMania for just $37,000. How do people go to these events? You can't go. Like Survivor Series at Petco Park was crazy. All right, Aztec pregame coming up next right here. Aztecs, Utah Valley. Fletch has got you covered until tip time. Stay right here on San Diego Sports 760.